to deal with this morning. Stocks downside right now. We just actually making fresh lows on the session here for the S&P and the NASDAQ as we continue to monitor all things coming out of the Middle East, or maybe a lack thereof, progress coming out of the Middle East. Back and forth continues. Iran basically straight up coming out saying they have no intentions of any sort of resolution any time soon for this dispute. So the same storylines as yesterday coming into play once again as far as the overall market is concerned. We do have a little bit of economic data coming up this morning around 8:30 that could be a little bit of a factor as well. We'll touch on that coming up. Individual storylines, I mean, there are a few, nothing amazing at this point. ARM back on watch here this morning, 2 straight days straight to the upside. Big day yesterday on this chip story, their own chip story coming back into play once again. Also noticed this morning some of the defense names. Really nice day yesterday. We're starting to creep back to the upside on a few of those. Lockheed Martin, I mean, all of them kind of look like that. We'll touch on those coming up as well. But oil back in play here, back to the upside in a pretty big way. Brent more so than WTI once again, but back and forth continues.
Yeah, President Trump, half an hour, 45 minutes ago, whatever it was, taking to Truth Social, basically saying that they are saying one thing and doing another behind the scenes, saying this whole 15-point proposal that they were reviewing it. And he's saying, basically, in his negotiations with them at the moment, they're desperate to make a deal. So we'll have to see, what the real narrative is. Brendo, time will tell, of course. Lots to talk about today, guys. Meta and Google back in focus after that big verdict yesterday. Meta on the receiving end of a couple of different trials, one for an addiction, social media addiction, the other one for not protecting younger users. Uber with a tie-up today with Pony AI for possible autonomous driving. CrowdStrike with a deal with IBM, and SMCI being sued by shareholders. Who knew, right? And
I feel like that's again, being sued again by shareholders. Yeah, SMCI downside. It's interesting. I was going to touch on that Meta. That's what Meta did yesterday on a 15-minute chart. Basically nothing. We were back and forth kind of chopping around all day long. And then the selling kicked in after the close yesterday. And then here we are this morning, significantly lower, back down to 585. I mean, we sat here, talked about this a little bit yesterday. Yeah. More details coming out, obviously, another case, as you mentioned, but the reaction seems to be a little bit more of follow through today.
Well, but there's so many pending trials that, could cascade, it could waterfall for many different companies that all are in the same space. We're talking about the Snapchats, the TikToks, the YouTubes. Well, YouTube's already implicated in one of them more, Brendo. So this could be, a tearing of the corporate veil, if you want to speak. They've been defending themselves using this Section 230 to say, if users post something, we're not really responsible. Now it's basically, no, you have the responsibility to go out and actively protect these people. A fundamental narrative change.
Yeah, so we'll see how these companies respond to this going forward. I mean, XLE going to be important here this morning. We're back to session highs for oil and just hearing as well. Nice move higher yesterday, and then it kind of just chopped around for the midday and the afternoon. Any kind of headline that comes out of this development again, or lack thereof, maybe even going to move this.
Absolutely. I want to mention ARM though. Very interesting take with ARM yesterday. Obviously, they compete with Qualcomm, right? Yeah. And apparently they were holding some sort of, I don't know, it's like some sort of conference to basically launch this new product. A lot of people were invited, companies that they compete with, the NVIDIAs, other microchip makers, AMDs, Intel, etc. There was one notable name though, Brendo, that was not there, and it was Qualcomm. They're suing each other because basically Qualcomm's alleging that ARM, stole some of their technology for this low power, high output data center chip that doesn't work on the x86 system that Intel and AMD use. It's kind of their own proprietary method. But this should be really interesting here between the two, because there's a lot of headwinds for Qualcomm, not the least of which for Apple, but now they're actually getting it from somebody they compete with directly in this space. So ARM should be in focus.
Yeah, ARM had a decent day yesterday. Definitely worth watching. Here's what to expect coming up this morning as far as economic releases are concerned. As I mentioned, some employment data coming out around 8:30. We'll get initial jobless claims, continuing claims coming up as well. New York Fed bill purchase coming up at 9:20, just before the open. Only reason I mention that is because it has moved stocks when it comes out again, way off what is expected at any point. So a few interesting notes this morning, and then again, more debt auctions throughout midday and then into the afternoon. This one, the 7-year, could be interesting. Some Fed speak as well to wrap things up, both at the close and then after the close. Long list of Fed speakers, guys, coming up today. Good morning.
Yeah, we got a full docket of fun news and market moves. Once again, we're sitting here. We said volatility wasn't going anywhere, and that's exactly the case. The yo-yo market just continues. So one day we're looking good, and the next day we're crashing. Not crashing, we're another % to the downside. But one thing that didn't get mentioned, not that this is good news, is crypto getting a bit of a hit. So we've lost 70,000. Bitcoin's lost 70,000, and you might say, okay, well, only down a couple points there. Taking it on the chin even more is Ethereum and ETH. Looking pretty bad with a gap down. Now down 5% from where we were at the close. I get it, 24-hour market, but still moving further to the downside of the Bitcoin. So going to be looking for some continuation short after that turn yesterday. BM&R is going to be in play. That's breaking down, not looking very good. I'd say with regard to ARM, which was just being mentioned, it was more than a decent day for ARM. I mean, anytime you're up over 15%, that's pretty good. Although everything was giving it back in the end, and most things are going to be down this morning, down 1% or so. Big spread on it, so like every tick, it's like moving around here. But there's not a lot of strength. I mean, obviously the energy and oil names are all looking strong. VIX ticked up a little bit here, but there's not much in terms of like individual movers. Even that MGLO or MGRO.
I have no idea.
Whatever. That the crazy runner from yesterday hit like $55 in the aftermarket.
Which one?
Cut in half. The one from the afternoon.
Yeah, what was that? It wasn't
MGRO.
Oh, yeah, it was nothing to do with M. Yeah.
Urban Grow.
Yeah.
This was $55 in the aftermarket.
Yep. Well, we said that there was no halt. There was no halt parameters or anything there in the aftermarket, so we did think it was going up. It's funny we had that GameStop versus Ethereum talk yesterday, and of course today I don't know if we put the the death wish there on Ethereum. Of course, GameStop not doing anything, and then today I have IBIT written down.
Who knew?
As exactly. Who knew? I guess somebody. But there's Ethereum down 5% today, right there. As yesterday I asked, would you rather hold this or GameStop? But there it is, down another 5% here today for Ethereum as Bitcoin. Like I said, I thought during all this turbulence, that we did have an opportunity to get crypto back to the high side, and it doesn't look like that's happening at all. Shout out to Thanos, Danny, CompuCare team there in the chat, everybody that's got it going one more time here today. I mean, thank you everybody for joining us at 8 a.m. You know what? Screw this. Let's just say hi to everybody who's here right now at 8 a.m. This is your 8 a.m. morning crew. We want to welcome Scott Redler is going to be coming from T3 Live. He's going to be coming very, very soon on our program. We'll hear what he's talking about today. Another guy like myself and Joseph that trades a little bit of the futures. We can talk to Scott about that. What's up, Jay Bronson? What's up, MF Dane Generous? Man, you're always here. We want to thank you for coming through. Midwest Cannabis, I just responded to you on X. Thank you, Midwest Cannabis. He's looking to trade some AMD today, he or she. New Loon is up here as well. Tarek is here. Roger Noonan is here as well. Ryan O'Day, Darwin, Trader Forever. Lots of traders just coming into the chat right now. We want to thank everybody for coming here. Options in deep. We'll hear some options talk from Joseph very, very soon. So we want to thank everybody. Yeah, we'll hope to put some of that in our pockets today. But going to go be short IBIT for sure here, down 2.1%. Looking at 40, like if we can get anywhere up to 40. I just wrote down 39.75. As a short, and I was just trying to find out where this 200 period moving average might be at by the time we open up. I said let's short the 200 period moving average or VWAP. So we're gonna see what one plays right off the open there for IBIT. But yeah, man, just looking at oil, we talked a little bit about that off the open. Moving around, I mean, it doesn't look like the Strait of Hormuz will be open anytime soon. It doesn't look like that 15-point plan will be accepted anytime soon. So here we go again. I mean, you always knew yesterday with all those back and forth sort of rhetoric going about how, everything's all good, yet we're deploying, troops. Everything's all good, yet we can't really communicate with anybody, and we're not even sure who's talking to the right people here. I think there will be a resolution. I just think it takes a lot of time. And, you know, trying to figure out the whole oil and the whole energy play is really starting to bother, I guess, the U.S. government and especially Donald Trump there keeps talking about that. It's almost, what is it, $8 or $6 or $7 a gallon, I think, now in California, maybe even higher than that. And it's starting to affect, I think, people's pocketbooks there as, you know, it's already stressful enough with this current economy, and now all of a sudden you're paying all that at the pump. So, you know, every day, obviously, I thankfully driving around one of these and just charging downstairs as we speak. But yeah, energy prices, man, not great right now. And I think that that's going to create some inflation issues, right? Even when this war is over, I'm not sure it's ever going to be over, but even when the conflict has died down, I think there's a lot of damage been done to
Once
the
you've
consumer.
done so much damage, well, even the damage to infrastructure means that even when it's done, whenever that is, you're still going to have a longer term disruption, and that will mean higher prices. The other thing to keep in mind too is that you've got the oil markets in backwardation. So really, like, the markets have still been pricing in that this is going to be short term, and so this is why we're getting all of these shocks. Like, anything that kind of battles that notion that it is going to be short term is just constantly burning us more than you might think, because they're really, oil prices, if you look at like the forward contracts, like 2, 3, 4 months out, 5 months out, 6 months out, there's still a nice declining slope, when that at some point is going to change if we see more of the same. There is a small cap running. I see M. Mason in the chat throwing out there slow motion foame in the chat, also mentioning this one as well. It's a fun name, Fitness Champs Holdings. Now, all I can see for FCHL here is that they priced an offering. So yeah, they approved a 15-for-1 reverse split to regain compliance, and that was on the 18th. And yeah, like the $18 million offering of up to 6 million units at $3, with some warrants as well. So that was announced, I guess, like right last night, and it already went to 720 in the aftermarket. So it's actually, like, I know it's up 100% because this move was after the close. But if you look at it from where it was actually trading and doing volume, this technically is, in my opinion, like down 50%. Like, I know it says up 100%, but this one's down 50%. So it is doing a little bit of a dead cat rally. Like, if you're only looking at today, which I don't see why anybody would, it looks fantastic. Like, it's making higher lows and looking pretty strong. But do keep in mind that this thing was cut in half from yesterday. Sometimes the pre and post market give you important price information, especially with the small cappers. I know Sharif knows that.
Looking at this, Neil, but what I was really noticing was the big move it made in the aftermarket yesterday, and the downtrend that it's still on. So we opened up a little bit higher at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. high, Brendo, about $4.72. We're at $3.72 now, but there's a very key area of resistance where we're getting to here. As you can see, guys, look at this area low in the aftermarket yesterday, lower high, and then we hold this around 375 to 4 area. So I'd be looking for a clearing of that. It's above VWAP. Hopefully, it's above VWAP by the midday show, Brenda. Otherwise, not going to make it.
We'll pass it on to Luis, and he can deal with it.
By the way, Luis, great contributor yesterday, giving us access to his intranet. You got to see the data points that he's able to populate. He's able to tell you, just say, for example, the last few years, how many times this has gapped up more than 25%. And then when it did, what were the odds of it closing red or green on the day? Fantastic. That, like, Michael Moss has been doing a lot of this, a lot of TA, mixing it with quant. You got to love it.
I mean, it's one of those things if that's what you're going to trade and that's how you're going to trade, anything that can back up your thesis, and give you more confidence in that occurrence happening on a daily basis is great. And I think it's like 63% or something like that he was saying. That
finished red.
That just in general, as a small caps as a group, that end the day.
Which is why he goes short most of the time, because statistically it's there.
Uber, not doing a heck of a lot this morning, didn't do much yesterday, but this Pony AI story, I mean, this is a continuation, I guess, of this arrangement. I feel like it was last year even. We were talking about this initially. it's just one deal after another, after another, after another. Uber obviously really putting all their chips into this autonomous plan.
We've been talking about this. They're kind of making themselves the marketplace for AV.
Yeah.
We're not going to spend our own money. We're not going to throw the capex that everybody else is throwing at it. But you guys do it. Come over here. We've got the riders. We've got the users who certainly want it. I like that approach. Pony AI reported earnings, and as part of the earnings look, they told us much about their plans. They plan to expand a lot of their AV operations in Europe. Chinese company, of course, but operating outside of China. But a good deal here with Uber. Zagreb, Croatia is the next big expansion plan for them. Hey, you got to find somewhere, Brendo.
Somebody threw a dart at a board or something.
Guess,
That's where we're going. It's one of those stocks, though, like if you zoom out on Uber, it's one of those stocks that, I mean, we're not in a market, we're not in a tape right now that is singular catalyst friendly. So a company like Uber comes out with a great story, it's not going to move the needle at all until we get some broader resolution to everything else that's going on. But the reason I say this is it's one of those stocks, or looking like one of those stocks that could, as soon as we do get any kind of positive directional change with the overall situation, that could start going. You
just imagine how margin expanding this is for them. I hate to put it so crudely, but the drivers take up a lot of their money, right?
Of it, yeah.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And so then imagine removing that component and maybe not even owning the fleet. So you know you've got an AV that you purchased from whomever, Tesla, anybody else. You then, you part of Uber's AV network. Your car's out making money. They get a cut, and they don't have to pay a driver. So it could be quite interesting.
So instead of seeing the cars driving around with both the Uber and the Lyft sticker, that'll just be like empty cars driving around with all, like probably 3 or 4 by that
Well,
time.
there you go.
Yeah.
Have you seen in China? In China now, when the car is in AV mode, it flashes this blue light to let all the other cars around it know that it's operating in autonomous mode, that there's no...
Stay the hell away from it.
Yeah, I guess that would be the message there, but interesting.
Yeah, back to decent levels here, guys, sport-wise anyways, for Uber once again.
Yeah, I think, look, the whole sentiment thing, what are you going to do, right? Like, you just sort of have to line up if things start to look better, these are the things that I like. Because maybe you like the theme. It hasn't really mattered for Uber, and I'm not gonna, the disappointment with this not breaking through that 50 period when it looked like we were going to, but things changed in the last this week has certainly changed that, unfortunately, is what it is. But when you could always just zoom out. I think I'd be concerned I'll be more concerned with this price, or with the stock at this price, these prices, if on the weekly chart, since this is a 2024 low, and you've been able to make a series of higher lows, showing you a bit of a support line, and it's directly between the 50 and the 200. Like, neither moving average is useful on the weekly, except for maybe a target. If we lose this trend line on the weekly, then I'll get concerned on Uber. As long as it holds, if it manages to hold this through all the turmoil, I think you're fine, like right here. And then like a singular breakout is going to be good to go. But if we break down, then it's a wait for the 200 period down at 60. It doesn't feel like that's happening right now in Uber. It's managed to sort of, hold the line for a while, just to use a pun. But there is some strain on it here, specifically today, right at $72. This is not, I don't have a lot of, I'm defending this level this morning, given how weak things are. But if the first thing we do off the open is false break a support level and then close higher on a couple of 15-minute candles, and at 10 o'clock we're looking at a false break low, then yeah, continuation longs can be a thing here. Like, Uber is a name that I like for some strength. I'm just not really feeling a lot of strength today.
I was looking at just another name here, Lyft. I mean, this name is right at a spot as well. Like, you're right now looking like you want to break this bottom on Lyft. So, unlike Uber, it looks like it has some support, although this has been support since a month and a half ago, back to mid-February. Definitely gets the feel here of breaking lower on Lyft. I mean, you have a very dramatically sloped 50-period moving average. You've started to turn around on your 200 period to get to the downside right now. Just no positive news here for Lyft. Uber has the Uber Eats. They have the Uber Freight. They have a bunch of different, that deal with NVDA. I don't see Lyft, lifting from here, to be honest with you. I mean, not even a break of 14. Like, that's not even that great. Like, this is now just sort of almost like the reverse. What do you call the opposite of the flag? Like, you get down there, you're kind of trying to. This almost looks like a hockey stick. Maybe? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess bear flag, yeah. Right into there. So it looks like we're getting ready to break lower. And I would say that, yeah, it looks, $10, $50, $11 there for Lyft. Probably something to look at. So I would buy Uber. I'm not buying anything except for indexes right now, but I would think that Lyft is probably something to keep an eye on, especially if it does start to break through that 14 level, play it down into $10. I think this is hit. I mean, if Uber gets hit on any kind of bad news, I would think Lyft probably gets hit even worse. So yeah, down to $13. I don't know, man. We wait for those big stories to sort of, ignite these things, and I just don't know if there's one ready here. I thought that news with NVDA being autonomous there and getting, as you guys were saying there, into all those Uber cars and just making any car basically autonomous, that would be amazing for Uber and really change the margins on that. So I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm still a shareholder of Uber and don't plan on selling anything. I was checking the account this morning. There's actually a benefit of being, so diversified, like 30 or 40 different names in my account. And at some point, it's negative, like when you're watching the Mag 7 just rip up, for the last 10 years. But at some point, it's nice to be diversified, and I think that right now, that feels pretty good. So, all right, let's go back over there to Joe and figure out what he's talking about.
All right, guys, what's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday. Let's get right into the world of derivatives. We're going to take a look at a name, one of my favorite, but hasn't been performing well as of late, down over 50% off of its highs, guys. This is going to be at this $80 strike price, something that's extremely out of the money. You can see that worth the bid and the ask are essentially worth nothing, but I wanted to take a look at the open interest to see if, hey, where can we potentially climb to in the coming weeks? So what we got going on over here is 17,300 contracts at that $80 mark, and then volume around 9,110. But at the end of the day, this contract is extremely weak. And with everything that we got going on right now, I don't know if we'll have the ability to climb. I didn't see anything substantial on the put side either, so we'll have to take that into consideration. Robinhood, $80. I think we stay a little bit south of this for quite some time. We'll take a look at the options chain throughout the coming weeks and see if we see anything that says, hey, we are ready to start moving. And we have to wait for a definitive technical break as well, too. And same thing with Bitcoin. The crypto space, we're not performing relatively well. But then we've seen the trend line breaks in other names like the Netflixes and a couple other ones, all right? So your delta is literally sitting at a 4. So there's essentially a 96% chance that this thing is going to expire out of the money. Well, maybe with Wealth Simple now, because there's zero commissions, that's when you can get involved with some of the writings. Other than that, if you have your typical brokerage, then you're going to be paying fees. But 96% chance that you are not going to close above $80 or at $80 by this Friday, by tomorrow, guys. At the money, IV sitting around 72%. We're back. All right. Guys, now we're going to take a look at Meta. A lot going on over here. Open interest, the volume relatively light here and the open interest, but what we can see is a slight uptick in the at-the-money IV. Nothing crazy. We're still sitting around 36%, which isn't bad whatsoever considering it's almost a $600 name, but $595 expiring tomorrow. Open interest 1,380, volume 3,520. Now your bid and ask, you're sitting around $15. Not horrible, right? Just due to the fact that there's not that much volume. And there was a couple strike prices that had a little bit more size, but collectively between the volume and the open interest, 595 is going to be the most when you have them both combined. Now your delta sitting on that 50, right, considering it's an at-the-money contract, and then your gamma essentially relatively cool here around $2, which isn't bad whatsoever. But you can see, considering you're at the money, and we talk about delta at kind of that at-the-money median, essentially what you have here is that there's a 50% chance that this contract will expire in or out of the money, all right? And once again, at-the-money IV, 36%. And I talk about this quite often, is that you can use your delta metric as a gauge to where it will expire. And if you're just currently trading at where you're at, then it's like, okay, you have that 50-50 chance. And then the deeper you go down, you're going to see that increase in delta, and you can correlate that with the price action and say, hey, yeah, look at it. There is a higher probability that this is going to expire in the money. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make money. It's the exact same thing here with Hood. We'll take a step back. Considering $80, there's a 96% chance that you are not going to close above or at this price. And we will be back momentarily.
Thank you very much there, Joe. One of those names, man, Robinhood, interesting day to give it the old initiation, Jeffries giving it the buy initiation, whatever. You don't know, you pick one day and we get good news with oil futures and what's going on in Iran, and the next day you get bad news, so it's kind of a ho-hum there. And it'll be a positive story, the catalyst, quote-unquote catalyst here, but that doesn't necessarily matter when Bitcoin and Ether are headed to the downside, when the financials are looking weak, when the market's down 1%. You add that all up, and Robinhood, even with that rating, is not going to be positive. That said, it does have a support line. We were talking about like Uber kind of having like a line of support at 72, which is threatening to break. We're a little further away on Robinhood. Like, it would actually take a bit of a move to get down in there on Hood, as you can see. Like, we're at 71.5. You've got 70 support on a closing basis and then a couple wicks underneath there. So there is at least a chance. Like, if we get down far enough, let's just say, where you get a bit of you could have a mean reversion type trade set up on a Robinhood, only if we get down there and break a bit of a trend. So it'll be on the radar. This is another one where I'd put it in. It's not in the category of Uber, where I feel like Uber was going down mostly because of what's happening in the market, and the second we start to level off a little bit, I think that should look good. Robinhood, you have to also consider like twofold, like what's going on in the financial sector in general, and then what's going on in crypto, because not every we've had a few bounce days where the market will reverse for us and Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't good. And I think on those types of days, Robinhood's not going to be some kind of a guarantee. So I'd be a little bit more hands-off on this for bounces, even though it's pretty much the same chart as Uber in a certain sense. I don't know if I like this one as much, and I say that as someone who, I bought this consolidation to get into Robinhood for the first time for myself, but I just don't like it for the day trade today. But I do like when we get a fresh coffee.
Yes, we got coffee and we've got bananas today. Thank you, Randy. How was the drive in? Okay. Thank you, Randy, there. Yeah, for me, I looked at Robinhood yesterday, and I thought maybe the $50 or so area was a good spot to look, which it would suck because that's down another 20%. It's the same kind of thing as Lyft right now. It's like, once this is broken, man, you basically open up the floodgates, and you have guys like Neil just said, man, out of nowhere, Jeffries coming to try to save the stock. Here he comes to save the day. Jeffries is not Mighty Mouse, and I don't think that's going to work out, man. I don't trust crypto here. We talked about that yesterday. I don't like the financials. I like the financials, but I'm not really loving the situation here. Silver's down 5%, signaling global manufacturing worries as well. And just the financials continue to get hit, and I just don't really want to go after a fintech this year. I'm not super excited about the possible lack of interest rate cuts happening this year. I think Robinhood's thrown a lot of ideas at the market right now, which has been great. I like the gold card. I like all that kind of platinum access and everything that Robinhood represents. It's just, when you're throwing, everything at the stock and you're still not able to get higher. Obviously, we have a story with the market not helping anything out either. When you get big guys like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they're all not looking super healthy either. But at least over here, you're getting these kind of bumps, right? In Robinhood, you're just a matter of moments away from breaking those levels. This didn't even happen, by the way. Breaking those levels and seeing you later on Robinhood. But it could be, it's already been beat up half, right? It's cut in half. So I think to start a position, I do like Robinhood. Look, I've been buying SoFi. That might even look worse. All right, Brendan's got numbers here at 8:30, and we're getting ready to have Scott Redler coming on from T3 Live. So that'd be interesting to hear again another trader's take potentially on the futures and what he's looking at. And as I write down some levels that I'm looking at here as well. Back over to Brendan.
A note here on app as well, guys, trading lower this morning after concerns raised about a move direct push from Meta or APP. So app downside in a pretty big, APP downside in a pretty big way. Yeah, a couple seconds here. We'll get initial jobless claims for last week. 205 was the prior reading, forecast 209, so a little bit of an uptick expected once again, a couple weeks in a row for that. 1.86 million on the continuing side. 1.819, the actual reading comes through there on the continuing claims, 210 on the weekly claims, so a little bit higher than the forecast, even again prior to 205. So overall, not great as far as those are concerned. 4-week average there, 210.50 on the week over week. So jobless claims numbers not really helping things as far as the market narrative is concerned. You and I were just talking about this one as well, Mara, with a bit of a pop there. Selling $1 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Maybe raising some cash.
Yeah, well, it feels that way because, I mean, I don't think a company would necessarily want to sell at these levels unless they needed cash. But here it is. Mara has agreed to purchase about $1 billion of its 0% convertible senior notes due in 2030 and 2031. They entered into private negotiated agreements to purchase these different sums of money. I just wanted to highlight here, they have sold 15,133 Bitcoin for about $1.1 billion. That was between the dates of March 4th and then yesterday, March 25th. So a couple of weeks there. The proceeds, Brendo, are going to fund the notes repurchase transactions with the remainder available for general corporate purposes, something that we often talk about. So it looks like, the company may need some money here.
Yeah, I mean, that space obviously going to be challenging going forward. I mean, that stock, if you zoom out on it, has just been, I mean, the whole market's not helping, but it has just been a nightmare since the beginning of the year. All right, as promised, let's bring him in. Scott Redler's Chief Strategic Officer over at T3 Live. First time on the show. We're happy to have him. This guy's been around for a long, long time. He's been through all of the, I mean, pick a crisis, if you will, for the actual market. He's seen them all. We're happy to have you, Scott. Welcome, first of all. I mean, this market's, in one of those trends where every tweet, every headline, every word almost coming out of certain individuals going to make things swing around crazy. Let's start high level here. And as I mentioned, you're a guy that's been through this many, many times. Give us your thoughts as far as the overall situation, first off.
Well, I guess I'm older than most out there and still in this since 1998, which I do think because of my routine and my process. And, through every crisis, you always need a routine and a process to get through it. You need to know your time frame. You need to know what you're looking to get. You need to know what you can handle. And, anything could always happen. So I try and use a blueprint and experience for each one. Right. So this does seem very complicated. Obviously, a war in the Mideast that is fluid and headlines are thrashing the tape back and forth. There's a lot of other narratives out there besides that. So again, you kind of don't want to have an opinion. You want to have your levels. You want to be prepared. You want to see things on the daily chart, the weekly chart, the monthly chart. You need to know, what are you doing? Are you day trading for a living where you need to be right every single month to get a paycheck, or quarterly? Some get paid quarterly. Or are you an investor? Are you sitting in stocks? Are you just someone who puts money in a 401k every single month? Or a 529 for your kid, or a 403b if your significant other doesn't have a 401k and is in private practice. So the question is, where are you? What are you doing? What's your outlook? And we all have different ones. So I think this show is catered more to the active trader who trades for a living, which is cool because I also do that as well. That's, as a chief strategic officer, I put together a note. I do a morning call. I do this thing called the 6:30 Club, where every morning I talk about the levels and the narratives, the keys to the day, and every day has been different. But the one thing I will say, if you go to the chart here, which I put the chart of the SPYs, the bottom line is, when you're below the 8 and 21-day moving average in the SPYs and the Qs, you, as an active trader, you don't want to be in a ton of risk because there's no momentum. If you break the 8 and 21-day, guess what? You can go to the 200-day. If you stay below the 200-day, like we've been for 4 or 5 sessions and can't reclaim it, even when we're so oversold, there could be lower lows. Like so far, we've come off about what, 8% off the highs. You can see that right here, which was Friday's low of 644. All we did is bounce back pretty much to resistance 1, which wasn't, very assertive. There wasn't a lot of power. There was a lot of gaps. The oscillator here was minus, 51, so we're kind of just neutral. So to me, if you look at the weekly chart, just to see the bigger picture, you will kind of see that, all we did so far is see, the 644 level. This is when the 821 day rolled over there, and there's no reason why we couldn't see, 614, which would be about 12%, which still wouldn't be, last year in the first quarter, we were down 21% off the highs, and all we had was a tariff banter. Now we have the war, we have the AI apocalypse of taking over jobs, you have the private credit, so there's a lot going on here. So you want to make sure you're not just having an opinion on, hey, it's Microsoft, it can't go down anymore. Well, guess what? It's been down for 8 days in a row into new lows. Or, hey, it's Google, that doesn't look like a head and shoulders top. Like you look at something like Google, using patterns. Everyone, it's Google, it's the best in breed, but look at Google. Google had a head and shoulders top pattern. If you got out of it when it broke the 821 day at 337, it no longer was in a strong trend. Then you had a wedge, continued to break to the downside. And then right here, it developed the right shoulder, broke below the 294, 296. And then yesterday in the gap up, some guys like, what's going to happen here? Can you reshort the break, which it tested 296. If you did, you were very happy yesterday. You were shorting a stock that's weaker, that triggered lower, made some money there. And then now today you're getting paid. It's below 289. So question is, does it get to 272? And how does it trade along the way? So, you're getting names like this that are like, wow, does this mean that the market's in a lot of trouble? Or does it mean we're just rotating to the optical stocks? The space names have been stronger. Marvell looks good. Dell's been a monster. So you have the have and have-nots. What's above the 821 day? You could be long that. What's below? You need to be tactical. And overall, you need to have a macro plan on, how to put money to work during volatile times, because the correction phase in the market, however long it lasts, is what you build your average cost with down the road for the long term.
Scott, if you zoom out a little bit, I mean, living in a world, I didn't pull up the VIX yet this morning, but I mean, around 20, let's say, for volatility for the overall market here. Can you go back, and maybe think of a time where, as you were mentioning, you have some of the biggest names in the world, Microsoft, Google's, the Apples of the world, all down in the teens percentage or even more in some cases. But overall, the market's really, 8, 9, maybe we get to 10% off all-time highs at this point. Like it's different. It feels different from that sense.
Well, it's also because we're not used to, the last multiple years since the low in 2022. There was a time, remember 2021 to 2022, Facebook went to, below 100. Amazon, Google, they were all, were in those corrective phases, and the market was drawn out in a grind literally for that year, and that was a tough year. I feel like we've been in this type of grind lower since October. So it's March, but, a lot of these names have all been corrective phases since October. So it's October, November, December, January. We've been in this for 6 months now, and there was a lot of frustration. I know about 2-3 weeks ago, everyone's like, how could the S&P only be down 2-3%? Because they're doing distribution. They don't want it to, a trickle turn into a waterfall yet, because the big money has to distribute stocks, and how do they do that? By thrashing things around and giving you a false sense of security. So traders wanted, I wanted the S&P to go lower. I'm like, what? The market is so broken. There's so many names that aren't working. How could we be down 3%? So people are pressing the spies and the Qs and losing money there and making money buying stocks they think hit a low, and you're losing both ways. That's not a lot of fun. Is that fun?
If we zoom out though, and from a strategic point of view here, are you right now focusing more on the 2, 3, 4 day moves, or trying to take advantage of a couple of percent on a tweet kind of thing intraday?
I'm trying to do a little bit of it all. I'm trying to just be safe. I'm trying to guide my cash is a position. And I would need people to feel comfortable that, and some days are better setups than others. Like yesterday, if you're a good short, that was a good short setup. You gapped up, SPYs went to like 661 right below the high from Monday. You could have shorted in the first hour and made really good money as things kind of rolled over. On a down day like today, maybe there's some things you could buy versus levels. Like yesterday, the space names were pretty strong. So like go to something like ASTS. I have the chart up right here. This was a decent candle yesterday. If you follow the rules, the ASTS is down like it's down only 280 something or other here. You should be able to buy a little bit to go from red to green. But if the SPYs that are down 6 go down 12 today, which could happen too, chances are you're not going to be able to buy ASTS down 3 and take advantage of the emotion of the indices on a stock that was strong yesterday. You could say the same thing for an AMD, right? AMD, you play by the rules. AMD had a strong candle yesterday, right? Strong candle, closed near the highs. If you're long AMD, you didn't do the wrong thing, but you have two conflicting views. The S&P is below the 8 and 21 days, so it's volatile. VIX is high. You can't have too much, but at least that gave you a reason to be in it by being strong all day versus a gap. So if your trade is I'm long versus 211, you could probably buy a little bit lower, but if all of a sudden it breaks the gap of 211, the trade changed and you got to get out. So what I tell my guys is, what is your framework of the trade? And if the trade changes, you have to use your stop.
All right.
Some people are super active and some people are more.
ASTS, we have AMD. What else is top of your mind here this morning as we head to the open?
Well, I want to see if the space names that had momentum and strength yesterday continue because SpaceX is filing. So you have ASTS that kind of moves with Rocket Labs. So I'm watching those two together to see if there's any kind of dip to buy versus a 15-minute low. I'm going to look and see, does the momentum continue in LUNR, which is a lunar space stock that's doing pretty well. PL is doing pretty well, so that's one spot. Then I'm going to look at some of the memory names. The memory names were super strong until Micron reported, and they sold the strength. Micron's down 100 points since the highs. SanDisk is at the 21-day versus the indices below the 200-day. So maybe there's an opportunity in SanDisk. Also, Bank of America upgraded it. So I'm going to watch those versus key levels and see, can you buy anything versus a level to make money? And then, maybe I'll look at Microsoft for a cute oversold bounce. It's down 9 days in a row if it reclaims yesterday's low. And then I'm going to watch the SPYs. SPYs right now are below yesterday's low of 655. Right, so if you look here, 655, it's below. Here's 649. 649 is the low from, I think, what was that, Tuesday? So do we hold 649 and try and come off that low to keep this lower range intact, or do we break that and all of a sudden now we'll see how we handle Friday's low? So it's like it's really level by level, sector by sector. Some sectors are broken. Some you're looking for an oversold bounce. Some you're looking to see if they could stay strong. And then you're looking for changes. And you have to watch that subtle change, because if you miss that subtle change, all of a sudden you could be doing the wrong thing. And that fine line between losing a little turns into a lot, or making a little turns into, not making a lot. So that's our job, to watch those things, micro-wise.
If anybody wants...
Term,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So I would say long term, if you have a 401k, at your age, we have a lot of time until we retire, so just put your monthly flows in. Don't let the TV, get you out of it. You can't time your 401k. You put it in every month. You get an average cost. I also have a blood on the street account that, which is a cash account that I've had on the side, which is almost like a product, where I leg in when the oscillators are a certain amount. So again, if you go real quickly to the, to map it out, because whenever it's happening, sometimes you get more scared. So I put my cash account that's been in a cash account, my wife's blood in the street account, I put tier 1 to work here, which was 8% off highs. So I now that's involved, I space it out now. The next tier out of the 4 would be here, which would be 12% if it happens, which also is a nice area. So, 401k long term, do you have a blood in the street account, or do you trade for a living?
Anybody wants...
Trade for a living, you should be in a lot of cash, because it seems like, there's volatility and there's some predatory action, but there are things to do. And if you're long term, make sure you stick to your plan. Don't let anyone tell you about all the risks of being in the stock market, because there's much more risk being out of the stock market.
100% agree. Anybody wants Scott's note, down below in the description is the link for that. We had a great conversation this time yesterday morning, Scott, about what you just mentioned, or one thing you just mentioned there. The SpaceX IPO, you buying the open?
I have this thing called the art of the first day of the IPO. I've traded through so many IPOs. I traded through the Facebook IPO. I traded LinkedIn. I traded every one of them. Sometimes, unfortunately, when you have 9 different private rounds and the valuation is through the trees, the first day it opens is the highest open for 6 months. So what I like to do is I take the opening print, wherever it opens, And then if it goes a little bit below it, I don't want it. If it hangs there, absorbs the supply from all the guys flipping and flipping and flipping, and then gets above that opening print, then you could buy with that low and then see, if the demand outstrips the supply. But sometimes it's a bloated pig, and the pigs of the private market have been making so much money in valuations, and they stuff it down the public's throat. You don't want to be that public getting it stuffed down your throat. So you want to make sure that you do it strategically and not just buy the open, because that could turn into the high. Like, remember coin? Remember when coin came out? The high of that day was the high for like 6 months. Facebook also, I remember that came out, had a push, closed below the opening print and went down, and it got sloppy and people got crushed. So just because it's SpaceX doesn't mean it's buyable on day one. So you have to have a plan on how you want to do it. And usually if you have the opening print and you can't get back above that opening print, that means everyone's just flipping it and selling it, and there's too much supply, and you have to wait and be patient. And we'll talk a lot more as we get closer to that.
Different markets, different times as well. Great insight. Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer over at T3 Live. Thanks for this.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Couldn't agree more. The SPY 12% level, love that. Cash being a position, and then regardless if you're Google or not, you can still put in bearish patterns. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Scott. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades, and we're going to start with Qualcomm, Bernstein giving them the downgrade here, guys, and lowering its price target from $175 to $140. You're down almost 2% here. Fiserv, also Raymond James, downgrading them from outperform to market perform. You're down 1 1/3 this morning. And then we have Flutter Entertainment, substantial price cut here, guys, from $300 to $160 by UBS. And then we also have Nike dripping a little bit lower here, guys, down 0.5% going, and also price target being lowered from $72 to $65 by Telsey Advisory Group. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the nods here. Airbnb getting one this morning. You're up 1 1/4. Truist giving them the raise, guys. Sell to a hold, and a price target increase from $107 to $129. Now, Nucor as well getting the nod, guys. Price target increase from $184 to $190 and going from a neutral to a buy. Amazon getting its price target increased by Citibank, going from $265 to $285. And then we have Marathon Petroleum getting the nod. $210 to $270 is that price increase by Raymond James, guys. You're up a little bit less than 0.1%.
I love that. I love that new logo.
That's cool, but it looks like
that should be their new logo. That's awesome.
It's like dripping. I can't. Is it dripping?
It's
is
like
it
an
melting?
arts thing.
Is it like, did it slash somebody and like blood's coming off?
Yeah,
of it?
I think it's like a badass logo. I like that logo, man.
I'm curious where
that's,
that came from.
Joe, man, you might be able to get into a different kind of a job there. I really like that one. I was. He took it off Google. Yeah, good job there. Okay. Yeah, look, I mean, awesome to have Scott on there. I mean, that's exactly, it's funny because Scott, man, you got me by 4 years. You talked about 1998. I'm a 2002 guy myself. But shout out to you, Scott. I mean, I was just saying to Brendan and to Neil, it's great to have, you know, a fellow trader on here that's looking at key levels and giving the goods that we had. So we want to say thank you to Scott for all of that. Not just a hype man, right? This guy giving you good levels. Check him out. T3 Live, another prop firm, right? We're trading prop. He's trading prop over there as well. And then he talked about different accounts, and I think that's important to figure out all of that stuff too, right? Is that, you know, it's easy to say, oh, you know, like Microsoft's going down, you know, let's buy this and hold this in our 401k. Well, that's an actual strategy. Like, you know, when a stock hits certain levels, he was talking about the S&P 500 being down 8%. Yeah. That was sort of tranche 1. And then he was mentioning that the next tranche was the 12% level there, and so on and so forth. So I just think regardless of what your plan is, and a shout out to Scott for his, you got to have one, because in these moments, it's like, what exactly are we doing here? I bought the S&P 500, I think it was a week and a half ago or so. So, you know, similar kind of ideas here on a move down. And then, yeah, obviously, you guys have sat here, and if you're watching the show, you've seen us trade IPOs as well. So I think that's exactly right, man. Take that opening print is what Scott was saying there as well, and trade off of that. And I think that that's an important thing to do. And we'll wait to see if SpaceX has that opportunity for us. And I think he's right, man. I mean, that's something that we never even thought about.
It's gonna be so.
All those rounds of buying there. traders may want to exit out once that IPO hits, right? We'll have to see how many
IPOs
shares.
are exit strategy.
Yeah, how many shares are available to sell and what the lockup period looks like and so on and so forth for a lot of those traders. Because if SpaceX comes out at $105 or something, I'm making a price up, I have no idea. And then all of a sudden, you know, the opening print is like
150.
Yeah, I was gonna say 150, but 250. You know, does that signal traders to putting in more market on sell orders? Sure, you might get that first bump of $1 or $2. I mean, again, throwing out numbers, but what happens after that? You know, when people open up their accounts and you're an early investor of SpaceX at, let's just say, $1 billion valuation, that's not going to be true. And then it comes out at 1.75 trillion. And then let alone, that's the number that they're trying to raise, that it could come out at $5 trillion.
The valuation could be, there's a really decent
The print could be 4 times expected.
At the open, it'll be the, by an order of magnitude, biggest IPO instantaneously. By an order of magnitude, it could be bigger than the entire space sector on the,
yeah, there's nothing else in that sector.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a bunch of small names. You just add them all up together, and then even take a portion of Amazon has been with. You could take it all, and it almost guarantee you it's going to end up large and dwarfing all that. That being said, it's like everything else. Scott said have different accounts. Remember, there's a difference between a day trade and buying that IPO and holding it. Because I'll tell you right now, look at Rivian. Okay, now this is a monthly chart on Rivian, so you can see everything. Rivian was a good day trade IPO. Rivian was a dumpster fire if you bought and held that on IPO day. You have to be able to separate these two things. Left brain, right brain, it's important. But there's something else Scott said that I think is just as important. Look at what was, he mentioned AMD, he mentioned Dell, right? Like Dell, fresh highs yesterday, been a rocket ship into a weak market. It's down a point because the market's down. It's up a little bit because SMCI is getting bad news, and that's a benefit to them. So this is a better kind of name. Like if you're looking for longs, there's going to be some things that are at key levels. I get it. Buying dips off of support levels. But there's also a few names that if we get down far enough, you find a support level on like a Dell, maybe like a 175 area, probably closer to 72. You've got something which is you've got relative strength in an upward trend, as opposed to trying to find where the bottom is on some things as we're trending down in here today. I can hear some keys going through.
Yeah, because I want to do this.
Idea what it might be, because I think that's a little more clear than what we had yesterday.
Yeah, I just want to do it now because we have more viewers watching now. We just had Scott on as well. We're talking about this. Are you buying the open print on SpaceX? Start your voting now. So if you hit number 1, right? I'm gonna get in the chat right here and do this myself. I'm a little bit ahead of it there. Neil said 1 already. Yeah, I said start. So there we go. So Neil and I, the first. What? Oh wow, a lot of no's hitting right now in the chat right there. So here we go, man. I know we did this yesterday, so that's fine. Yesterday, I think wasn't it a yes yesterday? I can't.
No, it wasn't no.
It wasn't no, okay.
You've skewed it by, there's 3 exclamation points for not a chance.
Yeah, where?
Only 2.
Oh, yeah. Right. Can I fix that? I don't think I can. No, yeah. So not a chance with 3 and hell yeah with a 2. Hit that Stone Cold, he's not even there. I was gonna say hit that Stone Cold Steve Austin because that's a hell yeah thing. So here we go, man. We are very, very much excited about this. A lot of people saying rigged. I think you're right, man. I think it will be a little bit of a rigged open, to be honest with you. I do think it would be exciting. I was planning on taking shares, but I might not, actually. It might be one of those ones where if it halts, you can almost take the first halt as well.
Oh, honeypea.
I just don't know if
I think it might be so liquid.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I don't know if that one holds. We have a lot of time to think about that one.
Well, who knows?
And then the other thing to consider before we go back, and we'll get back up to the desk and we'll get into the rundown and all that. Another thing to consider is don't forget all the other space names. Sometimes if the big name comes out with an IPO and it's the biggest one in the sector, or it's a massive one in the sector, it can be a not just selling point for them, but you can have 2 factors going in. It could signal a top in that sector, or it could signal anyone that wants to buy SpaceX could be exiting some of their other positions. So you got to watch out for if you're a Rocket Lab holder, if you're a holder of ASTS, you might start to think about, okay, well, what's going to happen? Am I in the money? Do I trim? Have we made a temporary top? Are people going to sell this so they can buy SpaceX? There's a lot to consider over the next few days and weeks, but before we go back to the desk, it is also worth considering that we have not had any slowdown. Like the jobless claims, schmobless claims didn't really do anything for the market. We're still in a very slow decline overnight into the ether here on the NASDAQ, both the NASDAQ and the ES, same thing. At least you haven't broken yesterday's low on the S&P yet. NASDAQ has. S&P hasn't quite broken yesterday's low, but we're still tracking down into it.
Before we go back, yeah, just one, no, it's fine.
Even worse now.
Yeah, it's 71.30. Wow. So, yeah, Scott sort of basically told us to watch out for the opening print there. So some people in the chat saying we just had Scott on, and he said no. I think he said that he was going to take the opening print, but pretty light, and then see how it traded around it. So, yeah, there it is, man. And I just want to remind everybody, whether or not you're on TikTok, whether or not you're on Rumble, whether or not you're here watching us on YouTube, wherever you're on Twitch, you can vote. So no matter where you are, your vote will count. You just got to put it out right there. So that's it. We'll change the poll up. Thank you, everybody, for joining on that one. And anytime Neil, myself, Sharif, anybody has an idea for a poll, we're going to get active with it, because I think it's kind of cool to have all you guys out here right now participating real time. I mean, I think that's an awesome thing. And I want to thank Fabian and everybody around here for doing that as well. Okay, we can throw a super chat up. We have 5 minutes until the rundown. We want to thank everybody. And if you ever have any super chats, please put them out, man. Andre will throw them up and let us know that they're there. All right, you're looking at a three criteria thesis. Okay, down sector, yes. I mean, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I do with writing the sticky note. A staple in the utility in the AI sector. Okay, so you're looking at the AI sector, I guess. Then you're looking at for a staple, so like an ARM or NVDA, I guess. A sector that will recover as liquidity returns to markets, and I keep getting led back to silver. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's funny that you write that. I only have 2 ideas on here so far, silver and IBIT. And for silver, we use SLV. As a trading. I can call up spot silver for you if you want to as well. Generally speaking, though, silver making a downside move. We can look at the US dollar right now and see if there's any strength in there. Silver going down would potentially mean strength in the US dollar. Again, the thing about silver, and I think you're right when you're talking about sectors, if we're going to talk about manufacturing and we're going to talk about the rebuild of, even the Middle East, or just how housing starts are going to try to kick up again. We know that, as far as AI and data center builds out and everything like that, that silver is something that is an industrial metal. So the base case for silver, I think would be a long. But for me, I'm actually worried right now about global stability, right? What's going on with the economy of the world right now? We worry about inflation targets, and generally a move down in silver would mean that inflation fears are subsiding. But we just saw CPI come through, a PMI come through, and I think inflation may bubble up again at some point here. And I know that with the Fed coming through, that's going to be a key target for them. We just had Powell say that inflation was sort of, where it needs to be for right now. With all the spending happening right now with the war, I do wonder about inflation. And right now, silver getting hit to the downside. So I think if you like silver over there, yeah, you're getting close. We talked about the 200 period moving average. For me, I'm short silver right now, just based on stuff that Scott said, man. We broke lower, and it looks like right now, if we can get any bump ups, I want to go short. I had written this down, well before. This is the first 2 ideas I have, and I actually got to get on this account right now as well for the sticky note. So, what else do you guys have?
I want to acknowledge
high quality.
Vincent,
appreciate
perfect. You, Vincent. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the kind comments. We definitely appreciate you, brother. You have to care. Inflation and concerns about possibly recession have to be in there the longer this goes on, and that's one of those things that can weigh. I kind of like silver too. I mean, I own some physical silver myself, but that weighs probably a little bit more in that than it would on gold. So if you look in the same vein, like if you get the worry of a recession, then gold could be another place that you got to look. Just wanted to throw up. There's another name making some highs before we go back to the desk. Lunai. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Lunai Bioworks executed a $20 million transaction to acquire blood-brain barrier delivery technology and central nervous system Alzheimer's drug assets from Clement Group. So, yeah, they've made a strategic acquisition, LNAI. It is battling to try to not be a penny stock. The float is only 20 million. It's going to do that multiple times over. I don't have any short information on it. When it's that small, sometimes you don't have short float, but that's a pretty tiny float. It's already close to doing a turning over its float once and still looking pretty strong. So another small capper that is running in case you're interested. Another one for Sharif to look at. Obviously, it's above VWAP when you're up 130% in 5 minutes. So that one looks like it's going to be a runner headed for the $1 mark, Sharif.
Screen, and it's at 80%. I look back at a screen, it's 133%. I love these, Brendo.
It's a casino every day.
All right, let's look at the SPY, guys. 656 3/4 is where we closed out on the SPY yesterday. We're down more than 0.4% right now, and we are barely holding on to $650. We're barely above it, Brendo, 650.40. So the first level we're going to say, let's see if we can hold that 50-point area. If we can't, we're looking at that area where we defended yesterday, 648.5. We had a couple of 4-hour candles close above that. If we catch a bid for whatever reason, we're looking at that 660 area as our, that's resistance level 2. If we catch a bid, we're looking at yesterday's closing print as our first level of resistance, which is 656 3/4.
Wow, Dana White on CNBC right now. That's early for him, I feel. If you haven't done so yet, grab the watch list. I don't know why that didn't work, but there you go. The link is below in the description. Second link down below will get you to the watch list. All you need is the... oh, it is too.
It's Fetterman.
It looks shockingly...
It looks like him, yeah.
I don't know. My eyes are horrid.
He's the new Joe Manchin, Brendo. He kind of in between
left and
right, this Fetterman guy,
My eyes are horrid, apparently. I mean, we're 30 plus feet away from those TVs, okay. I have to say. But anyways, disregard my prior comment. I apologize. Let's talk about some memory stocks here. Google with a headline this morning, sending some of these to the downside, including SNDK with a nice gap here after getting absolutely flushed before the open yesterday. I mean, it did recover a little bit, but here we go again.
Google coming out with this algorithm yesterday. Supposedly, it's going to be able to use less memory, and so for data centers, of course. And so the memory stock sold off on that. Morgan Stanley coming out today defending their call here on Micron, specifically reiterating overweight rating and pushing back against the recent sell-off. The firm views the pullback as normal repricing of durability concerns. Memory is described as kind of the bottleneck in AI infrastructure. Demand is so strong that customers are reportedly prepaying for large volumes of memory. And AI share of semiconductor spending could reach well above 50% according to the report. Traditional peak cycles, we've seen this with memory before. There's a glut of inventory, then there's not enough of it. Morgan's saying those days are probably done if you believe that. They say that they argue that the cycle is not behaving like past memory cycles due to the structural AI demand. They didn't specifically address this, this algorithm that Google supposedly released yesterday, but they're basically reiterating the demand, and they're saying gross margins at 81%, probably not sustainable because, you know, there's going to be more inventory that comes on, but demand will be there.
This, I don't know why, but if anyone's ever watched the show Silicon Valley, it's
good.
The first thing I thought of when I read the story this morning was that show, because the whole premise behind that show is that these guys out of nowhere, I mean, it's not Google, obviously, but they come up with this compression algorithm that changes the memory game forever, essentially, but they spend the whole series trying to make it work. It reminded me of that.
I remember these memory programs as far back as 8 megabytes of RAM. Pentium 75,
for sure.
8 megabytes of RAM, 1 gigabyte hard drive, Brendo, and these programs have been around since then, so not new.
Let's see how it transpires. Yet another potential opportunity for Google, maybe.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But I mean, Scott went over the Google chart. It doesn't look all that good. And when you look at the memory names, they're starting to show some signs of breaking down. We covered in this yesterday, but Micron, it's right at this support level, like triple bottom support. Now, the easy thing would be to say, okay, well then, you know, break down 365, and then, you know, once it breaks short, you're good to go, all that kind of stuff. But when you think about what's happened to Micron, like, so you have our down day, you know, post earnings, and at the open, it's had a pretty distinct pattern, more or less every day. Some days bigger than others. Fail the low, and then recovery day, where once the 15-minute shows you a fail of the pre-market low, it then shoots to the upside, and you get an up day. Then the next day, it's a fail on the 15-minute at the high and drop. And then the next day, it's a fail on the 15-minute at the high and then a drop. In this chance, you actually can get in at 10 o'clock because it pops up to get you in. And then Micron again, fail the top at the open, which is also the prior day low, and then trend down. And then yesterday, fail the top and then trend down. So today, when it's at that low support, I think you can look at this and say, well, if the first thing it does is break that low, put in a 15-minute candle, reversal candle, something that might look like that or so, you might go for that reversal play. But it has to show it to you. I think in this particular case, Micron, it's almost like if it shows you the first 15-minute candle is a head fake almost every single day, then you wait until that first 15-minute candle tells you which direction it wants to fake. And if it doesn't, fair enough. But if it does, that can give you a bit of a direction. So I'd look for a reversal candle on that first 15 and then maybe look for a 9:45 to 10 o'clock direction for the memory names, because it's at such a huge support level. I don't expect it to do something super clean here at 9:30.
It's like that story obviously sending the chip names, or sorry, the memory names lower, but it's also sending Google lower right here. So Google, it says 0, but I don't know if we just, that's why we just got a print up there. Okay, so you're down 1% today plus for Google, and it looks like they've lost the bid on this name now. 3 straight days to the downside. Just per that super chat, like weak sectors seem to be getting weaker right now. And I don't know, man, Mag 7 has been really crushed lately. So if you go over to the Mags ETF and just to see, like, I think when we first started talking about this, maybe it was $64 or something when I first brought this to everybody's attention. And not to brought it to your attention, but when we started talking about it, yeah, there it was. So, good memory, 64. I actually haven't looked at it since then. I remember we were talking about it potentially breaking this area. Maybe it was 63 right into there. And since then, man, we've been downside now, right? Now you're going to get that cross of the 50 period and the 200 period moving average. So, this is the Mag 7, each stock divided by 7. You get 16%, 100 divided by 7 into this name, and then they distribute some dividends based on, the ones that do. But yeah, broken, right? I mean, that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 6 or 7 straight down days, and not great here. So I think the whole space needs a little bit of a shakeout before we even get going. And it's funny to say that because, Microsoft and, like we just showed you, Tesla, Google, all these names are really getting shaken themselves, let alone Meta. Meta's down at $600. We don't have, Meta's near the low, near the bottom. But anyways, I just think that when you're looking at these names, I know Joe, all of us, on the show here, we like Google. And I think that it is something that gets bought on dips, but not the last couple of days. And I'm not sure it's going to happen today either, as the NASDAQ's starting down 1%. So I'll have the sticky note out in a couple of seconds. I just got to finish writing it, and then we'll put it out. But Google, a strong name for a potential short. If you can't get going on good news, then what's going to happen if this market continues its turnover here? So yeah, looking short in anything memory related here today, I think is a good start. SMCI is an interesting one. We'll have that up in a couple minutes. That's been going up and down the last couple days. But all right, let's go back. Okay, here we go. So here's a name that's been pretty strong, right? You want to talk about a name that's been going up on good news. It's going to be ARM. So let's go find out this story, and then we'll see if we can trade it today.
They seem to be few and far between, but absolutely 2 days in a row. Really, really nice move here for ARM. We're just about, actually, this did go green. Just back to positive territory here for ARM. 2 separate upgrades on this chip angle today.
A fabless chip designer has built their own fab. Not nearly as big, of course, as the Intels, but they gave a behind-the-scenes tour to one of these CNBC reporters. It's on YouTube. Very interesting take about their new chip that we released yesterday. You kind of felt like that they probably had knowledge of it because it was a really long video that was released on the same day. So they probably had knowledge of it from before. But in any event, today, Needham upgrading ARM to a buy with a $200 price target. They say, look, high-risk moves, including higher royalty rates and custom silicon, are now paying off for the company. They say they've become a credible AI play as demand for AI-focused CPUs accelerates in these data centers. The new processor, though, the one that we were talking about, AGI is the name. Can't be by accident, Brendo. Artificial General Intelligence. It's the first in-house data center chip developed with Meta. Meta is the big buyer, but there are others. The first people, though, the first hyperscaler they're going to get their hands on them is going to be Meta, but NVIDIA's on there. There's others as well.
All right, ARM guys struggling, I guess, right now, trying to get above this break-even point so far.
Oh, I mean, the stock did give you a pretty decent rally yesterday. How much more are we're gonna ask for? Yeah, it's gonna be green. I don't, like the thing is, it was already going pretty big going into this. Like I own shares of ARM. I love ARM, and it's been doing great. But it's multiple, like we were green for like 6, 7 days in a row through all of this turmoil on ARM. It was a rocket ship off the 50-period moving average. So it feels to me like I don't want to be trapped into this. It has to be long because it's relatively strong. Like Dow made a fresh high and was going. AMD made as Scott was mentioning, had just broken that 50-period and kind of a new breakout. This one has been ongoing for a week and a half. So maybe somebody has some inkling at this event that this was going to be announced. That seems pretty reasonable to me, given how strong it was relative to the market. And it's still threatening that you could have a bit of a side. There won't be a head and shoulders, but like a side shoulder kind of look here to the 158 to 160. I'd be very wary of this doing like a false break at the open and coming back in. Like I'd want to see this. If I like ARM today, it has to be because at the open, I don't think you'll see like this kind of a candle at the open. That's kind of crazy. But if you do something like show the bounces off of VWAP and then set up the trend, then you just join the trend. Fair enough. But at the open, I'd be a little bit skittish with this. I'm actually looking at a fade on one of our old favorites, which is Intel. Like the way that it respected 47 yesterday, there was a short into 47 that bounced clean in the morning and then again in the afternoon, pretty clean off the 47 level. You're rejecting a big top in here. This one's just a little bit more clear. The direction I like, it's like fail that top, get the short somewhere in here, or just follow the trend, and you've got room for it to get down a buck and change. So this is a little bit more clear to me. I love ARM. I just feel like there could be a bit of a trap off the open.
Yeah, I was going to say sort of the same thing here. I mean, we gotta pay attention to what the broader markets are doing. But again, to look for something strong, and I only have shorts written down here today with IBIT, Silver, the market, and SoFi. I put out the sticky notes now out. You guys can go check that out if you want. It's right here. Right now, I was just looking. I tweeted at Scott and said, Tom, thanks very much. IBIT, SLV, TQ, SoFi on here. You guys can go check it out. Maybe I'll put it at Trader TV Sean in the group chat over there. But looking for something strong today, I think is what you want to talk about. And right down into here, if there is a fade, like what I mean by looking for something strong is if you're looking for a long, this 156 has been pretty good. I was going to actually look at this 154 area, sort of where we gap and went yesterday. So obviously we pushed down off the open. We could see that yesterday, but then it was like, boom, as soon as that bell hit, we really took off, right? And then it looked like it wanted to stop and go around 153, 154, but it didn't stop, it went. So that's going to be a good spot right into here. If the market does bleed down today, which it's down 1% right now, I could see a fade, as we had mentioned there, sort of off the open. 156, first area that you'd look at, that's sort of where the support is. But then I would almost go down. And again, remember, we're just talking about day trades here, not to say let's hold this 154. I mean, if it continues to go down, then I think you got to exit your trade and even look to get back in somewhere around this 130, 140. Because now we know, as you mentioned, that we know the fab is going, and we know that this is the idea that they have, and they want to, 3 or 4 times the chip business this year as opposed to last. So I do think that as long as ARM is being legit with this, we know SoftBank always kicking the tires here as well. I don't even know how much SoftBank owns in ARM, but I like that 154 area. So if this happens to fall $5, which believe me it can, I would pick up ARM down there. So I'm looking at 154 to 155 area for a bid on ARM, and I might even just sit there. Like this could float. It drifts down 50 cents. The next thing you know, a little bit of a flush, and you do wind up getting that 155. I know it seems far away now, but very possible. We were just at 156 an hour ago, or less than half hour ago. So ARM kicking it right here, upside with 913 here. Pretty interesting, few stories there. And now we'll get back to, obviously, the world with these defense stocks and some oil. Okay, good.
Nicole, Vada, good morning, my brothers from another mother. Do you think Mara will retest its morning high when the market opens, or will it depend on Bitcoin? Yeah, Mara's selling Bitcoin, signaling that they needed to raise cash. That's one of those, it's good, pay off debt or buy your own debt. It's not necessarily all bad news, but a couple of things. One, it went right into resistance, And again, as Sharif pointed out, it can be a signal of some weakness that you're doing that in the first place. Like, look at the top here at 9.25 or so, and look at all of the rejections of that level. Breakout above, immediately fail, and then start failing, and then continue failing, and then that's exactly where we drop off. I don't like there's two things I don't like about that. One, it shows you that sellers are in control at that 50 period and anything above the $9 level. Two, hate to say it, but you know, this is still a company that's going to be somewhat dependent on Bitcoin, which is under 70,000. If we don't break back above 70,000, then why do we like this to get back to the upside? Like, unless Bitcoin does this reversal, which is fine. Like, Bitcoin did a great reversal yesterday. Like, it was trying to go up with the market and did a reversal down. Maybe it'll break that trend and go back up. But until that's proven, I can't like Mara either. It's sold at the top on positive news and is already trending down into a weak crypto market, unfortunately. Because I still, I liked IBIT long at the open yesterday because it was trending up from the pre-market, but when it broke trend, it flushed. And then it broke trend and it flushed. So as it glides higher, I'm just sort of thinking the same thing. Go out to your key levels. You've got the 40 here, and you've got this, which we've been trading off this level and the 40 level for basically 2 days now. And it's 39.75-ish, that 70,000 mark. It's not exactly on IBIT. And then even if you press through and fail 40, I'm still thinking pop and fade. So that's hard to like Mara in that circumstance.
I do want to say a big shout out. Thank you, Bravely, there on TikTok, and a shout out to everybody watching us right now on TikTok. Here it is right here. Hit the like, hit everything going on there. We'll let that chat load up right here. But thank you to everybody that's on TikTok. They want to know about NVIDIA, AMD. Bravely sent us all these messages right here. There's one from RTX, NVIDIA, Meta, Tesla. Look, we'll talk about RTX quickly, and then we got to go back to the desk. We got some coverage here. This is a defense stock, so this is Raytheon. This is going to be right on topic right here, so we'll cover this real quickly for you guys over there on TikTok. Look, I thought this stock would have really mooned here with everything going on. This is RTX Corporation. Wait a minute, RTX is Raytheon, isn't it? Why is it saying RTX? Do I have this wrong right here on?
RTX is right.
Is this, yeah, okay. Is Raytheon RTX?
Yes.
Yes, okay. My each signal says RTX Corporation. That's why I was thinking to myself, maybe it wasn't. But anyways, Raytheon Technologies. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Just wanted to make sure we weren't talking outside out of the corner of our face there. All right, so 191. You guys want to talk about this? I don't know. Whenever there's things happening opposite of what you think should be happening, then you get a little worried about it, right? So this name is nowhere near its 200 period moving average. And as we talked about many stocks drifting lower these days, RTX is not, unable to do that. It's not away from that. So I think now that you're underneath the 50 period moving average, it's a great little call up here because these wicks have been bought up at 191. So I think if you want to take a shot on Raytheon right here, these last couple of dips down have all been bought and closed higher off those wicks. So yeah, you might have found something right here with Raytheon. Break of 191, I'd give it to 190. Then I think you get out 194 long. Yeah, why not swing trade this thing? 194 with a 190 base sounds good to me, especially if we do get more escalations in this space. So thank you everybody, and thanks everybody from TikTok, and keep hitting that like and keep pushing the screen, right? I don't know, that's what we're told. Keep telling him to tap the screen there on TikTok, and I guess maybe on mobile is where a lot of TikTok people are watching it. So thank you everybody for doing that. Thanks Bravely for keeping TikTok moderated over there. All right, back to the desk, and I guess there's some more defense names, maybe Palantir or something like that. Let's go find out what the boys want to talk about.
I was just looking up that RTX name situation, and I guess some trading platforms catching up a little bit late. Apparently, I didn't know this either, but RTX Corporation, the official name for the company since 2023. Who knew? But yeah, the defense story, the same here once again this morning. All of these looking about the same. NOC may be lagging a little bit, but huge day yesterday for Lockheed Martin as well.
Yeah, good names for them, guys. And yes, make sure to be clicking there. That's the TikTok stream. We're live on TikTok now. Make sure to hit the like button as many times as your heart so desires. But yes, Brendo, that 15-point plan by President Trump yesterday did move some of these defense names. You know, they rose slightly even after Pakistan delivered that U.S.-backed peace plan to Iran and offered to mediate. But the U.S. is shifting focus here more towards low-cost, autonomous, AI-enabled battle systems. Neil has one up on his screen, AVAV. Some of them are not they're not actually publicly traded, for example, Anduril. But major contractors like Lockheed, like Honeywell, they're all expanding their missile production, with the industry expected to see double-digit growth through 2028. A lot of people are saying that they're really setting up here for what could be a prolonged Cold War with China, right? They're kind of not looking past Iran. Obviously, that is affecting the market at the moment. But what they're saying is the next phase of war they have to be ready for, and they may not be as ready as they want. So
I was just reading another tweet on, I forget the name of the startup, but it's another like Anduril type defense startup that just raised a whole bunch of money. Oh, there it is. Shield AI, defense startup Shield AI, raising $2 billion at a valuation of $12.7 billion. That was a day ago.
They're on the CNBC Disruptor 50 list, and they have this big-looking drone that kind of looks like the B-2 stealth aircraft. Yeah, if you can throw that on. Brendo, what this one does is it basically goes into the air, can detect swarms of drones, okay? Say there's 20, 30 coming, it detects all of them. It prioritizes which ones are a threat that need to be taken out now. But the thing is, it's autonomous.
Right.
It makes its own decisions, targeting decisions, firing decisions. So that's raised the concern, of course, of some industry observers. We've seen this whole thing with Claude and Anthropic between the US government, but this is the typical case where human intervention would be too slow. It would need to be an autonomous system like this.
I can't wait to have giant flying robots making their own decisions, flying around in the sky, doing whatever the hell they want. Man. It's so crazy. I don't know, guys. Any thoughts here on defense names today?
So like, there's like, anyways, I was just telling this story. I saw a guy that was, it was just some random like corporate dude, whatever. He posted a thing on X where he was using Claude for whatever. Yeah. And overnight, in the middle of the night, it made a change to the code, correcting an error. It was something that should have been done. And so he's like, oh, well, why did you do this? And he asked Claude why it did it. And it's like, I don't know, and I don't remember doing it, was the response. And explaining it, yes, it was a necessary change.
And that's where you are like, where's the accountability?
It's like, okay, but it was definitely done on your computer. Blah, blah, blah. It's just a weird thing. And I think there's going to be some apprehension, obviously, because we've all watched way too many science fiction movies, is the other side of the equation. Look, I'm going to show you a name that was my pick for the year, and the reason I liked it before, obviously, is gone now, and from a technical standpoint, because at the beginning of the year, it broke this downtrend, but it's in another one. That's AVAV. So downtrend, it broke last time, right at the beginning of the year. I guess we didn't make our picks until it was like, whatever. It's one of those, like, I bought it
Jan
here.
12th, I'll never forget.
Like, I buy it here because it breaks the trend, and then we announce our picks January 12th when it's already gone up. But what's more important is that it's in another one of these downtrends where I'm just waiting for the break. It could flat bottom break here and continue lower, and then we just keep tracking the trend. But once that trend breaks and shows you that higher low setup, I think this one can be one that works. There's really not a defense name that's on the radar today. Like there was like loosely I was looking at Palantir, didn't necessarily love the levels on it because like 155 seemed like the key place to work off of, like this 155, 156 area on Palantir. And I feel like if we're strong enough to get there, I don't know how much I'm gonna like it. So I kind of backed away from looking at defense names for the day trade in here today. We've already talked about like the names I like here. Intel, you mentioned the same name that I like, which is not even on the list. We can't say that we like 16.5 long on SoFi.
Oh no, not for defense.
Not for defense.
I was going to say, okay.
Just a name that is not. This is held so many times, just for a trade. This is held so many times since the Muddy Waters thing that when it broke, it was always going to be a short underneath. But defense, I'm waiting for AVAV to break trend. When you're at war and defense names are trending down, then you have to understand it could be a bit of a sell the news kind of thing because they'd already had their runs, the drones, some of the drone plays and autonomous plays. So, let them wind it out a little bit and, you have some kind of indicator. If the support level holds, that's great. If it doesn't, then I just track the trend even further until we get that clean break. Guilty until proven innocent.
MF Dane DeGeneres, they're liking the SoFi short as well. And I just posted up on the sticky note, there it is, SoFi short 1670, Q short 44 area, silver short, IBIT short, risk off kind of a day for me there. We can, I'll put that in the chat if you guys want to go have a quick look at the sticky note. Yesterday we nailed IBIT to the penny and didn't trade it because we were at the gym. Okay, so there it is. But I was going to say as a defense stock, I mean, a name that, gets overlooked and has definitely been, thrown away right now is Boeing. I mean, this name has been absolutely crushed. This was $260 not even that long ago. You're talking about the beginning of February here. And now you're just the end of March, and this name is all the way down to 197. Like, you're down now, that's 20%. From top to bottom, isn't it? 260, yeah, 255. I mean, depending on exactly what this bottom is going to look like right there. 21% almost right there, top to bottom. And so it's been bear market territory for a name that has increased its forward look on sales for production. They've also got more orders coming through now as well. They have deals with NASA. They do have defense deals. And they do have, if we do get, again, a resurgence in, we've seen Delta and American Airlines, and a lot of airlines talk positively about, flow and traffic and, demand. I think Boeing can, so stupid. I was gonna say I think Boeing can get going, but like I have to halt myself because those things don't. That's not. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's fine. I was just gonna say, like, I don't know if it's a buy down here, but definitely a name to look at as we get into some of those lows. And I remember when I bought it at $200, it did go down into 180, popped up. I didn't do anything about it, and I don't plan on doing that. But I think this is getting to another area here where you may want to buy a little bit of Boeing down there, like a little bit of a broader chart here on the day. Oh, shoot, it's already 25. Okay, we got to go. I just want to look quickly at a weekly chart for Boeing just so we get a little bit of more of an idea here. There's your 200 period right now for Boeing on the weekly chart. So, definitely a buy zone. But, hey, man, it's been a lot better days for BA. And a lot worse days. So this is a very volatile name, but you can see this now, 2 straight down months and at the 200 period. I don't mind it. All right, 4 minutes left right now. Let's go talk about SMCI and Meta and then get this show started.
SMCI giving back pretty much everything from yesterday already this morning, trying to hold on to 23.20, rightfully so. Class action lawsuit here from shareholders after bad things were done by certain executives selling NVIDIA chips into China.
It was not a good look. It's still not a good look, Brendo. The plaintiffs here are claiming the company misled investors by concealing the reliance that they had on the China-linked sales. The allegations include, of course, overstated growth prospects and weak export control compliance disclosures. They're seeking damages for investors between April 2024 and March of this year, 2026. The legal action follows a major U.S. indictment tied to illegal AI hardware exports to China, as you mentioned. 3 individuals, including a Supermicro co-founder, were charged, allegedly facilitating about $2.5 billion in shipments, including NVIDIA's latest chips. Supermicro themselves was not named as a defendant in the criminal indictment. However, the civil lawsuit directly targets corporate disclosure, so they're being sued here as a company.
A little bit of a bounce here so far this morning, guys, but the effort just not there.
Thank you, Randy, with a refill already. Thank you.
The opening refill.
Randy, put this here for advertising
Unfortunately,
purposes. There we go, Trader TV Live.
SoFi is going to have to deal with the Jack Bauer level today. It's that simple. 24, everybody. That was the gap. That was the gap down
SMCI.
High. SMCI.
I said you said SoFi. I was like, oh my God, 24 what?
That's my bad.
Right.
SoFi's not getting $24.
No.
Not yet.
Eventually.
Yeah, $24. That was the gap top
6
on
months.
day one. That's where it failed to break through yesterday. So, it gave its effort. It did the round and bottom, all of those good things. You can't fill in the gap if you can't break through first resistance. And if you don't break through first resistance on a negative story, then I think it's a pop and fade. Intel's probably a little bit closer to the levels that I like for this morning, so it'll make the list. But this is another one. If it trends up into this level again, I think you look for the fade. And remember, don't forget, even in the midst of bad news, this ended up being good for Dell. So Dell made some fresh breakout highs. If this pulls back into some of those prior highs, at least you'd be working with some strength here instead of trying to catch some falling knives in weaker names. So, if we get some market strength, try not to forget that what's bad for SMCI has been has been great and fantastic for Dell the last week.
Yeah, right now, just looking at this market on open and balance, not much going on there. Meta's going to the downside. We're going to get that story in a second. Just real quick to get you guys excited here. Time to vote. This is a crazy question. Will the S&P 500 be green or red end of day? We're starting the day down almost 1%. So vote now. Get that going immediately and let us know. And I'll talk about this in just a minute. And no matter what platform you're on, vote right now, green or red. I think it's easy to say red, but I do think that we could get back to green. Let's see what everybody's thinking. All right, Brendan has walked away. We will not be doing Meta talk about right there, but there it goes. Yeah, Meta making a downside play right here. Just for those of you that were waiting on Meta, broke through that $600 level and looks like it wants to get worse and worse and worse right here off the open. Down 2% for Meta to start with. So I can't remember the exact story we were supposed to talk about today for Meta, but it is downside. They had that,
Several lawsuits.
That's what I was going to say. The lawsuit I was going to say yesterday about trying to protect kids. The government, trust me, the government knows way more about your kids than you do. So get ready for that. Thank you for the lawmakers. We are the law. All right, there it is, man. We are now.
By Beta Pro, by Globex. Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out.
And that market is now open.
Market is open. Looking to short IBIT immediately. If there's a little bit of a bump up, we talked about the 200 period, that's 39.50. We'll see if IBIT can come in. We do want to short some silver here early as well. On a little bit of a bump, that's getting pretty close right now for SLV. We can see what that does. I'm not super excited right off the bump to short the 200 period, so let's just wait to see where it goes. I mean, the market is doing complete opposite of that. It is
shorting into
it is very excited to short this market right there early as the NASDAQ just ticks down, closing through that 1% right now.
Well, SoFi's already hit $16. So,
okay, well.
So if it does, yeah.
That's not working.
No, seriously, I just canceled the short in front of the prior low because if it's a false break at the low and then comes higher, you got to be careful shorting into that because you could easily see one of those false breakdowns. Some chip names actually moving off of the bat here. AMD up $4. Check that. AMD up $5 from the open almost.
What?
As it just went green.
Okay.
Oh, right. What's happening over here with Micron? No, Micron to the downside, wicking the low. So the memory names to the downside, AMD to the upside. Maybe that'll drag Intel up to the 47 level. No, it will not, Neil. So it looks like just AMD, from what I can see, blasting off at the open. I'm not really seeing anything that went crazy or ham. NVIDIA down. How many times do we have to tell this story? Where NVIDIA looks bad and AMD looks good.
Wow,
if you look at their valuations, you think that's not the way it should be. Because I don't think that's the way it should be based on valuation, but it doesn't matter. Yesterday you had Marvell strong, so in addition to AMD, let's see how that's doing. That would make sense to me. But that's going to also be strong. So yeah, Marvell and AMD, just like yesterday. These were the two that showed strength along with Intel and ARM. And we're seeing the same thing off the open despite NASDAQ immediately down.
Yeah, I mean, the Marvell story just keeps on pumping higher. We talked about how much we like that stock, and it's paying off for us right now. Yeah, just still waiting to get involved, man. I mean, silver came pretty close, 62.20 there. That was a name to look at for sure. So we can have a look there. Bitcoin's not doing a whole heck of a lot as we're just waiting for something to happen. I mean, the market opened up today, but to relatively no action in some of the spaces that I'm looking. I mean, the NASDAQ goes up and down, hitting into some of the pre-market lows, so that could be thought of as a trade at some point there for the NQs coming in if there's anything. I mean, I'm looking at my sheet right now and I'm not seeing anything coming in. Meta, we could look at that. So NVIDIA, nice push down there off the open. Maybe getting ready to short that name as well. Sorry, NVIDIA, did I say Meta? Meta did have a move. Okay, Meta continue flush. Down 2.7% right now, getting nastier by the day is Meta. I'm going to assume that Microsoft is also heading lower. I don't know why I would assume that, but just because the market. No, actually. So Microsoft does have a bump up, but heading lower now. Maybe Microsoft does have a bid underneath it. Let's wait to see. Palantir, you want to talk about a bid underneath it? Not right now. Palantir down to 150. Wow, this name really crushed. We talk about how aggressive Palantir can be, especially when it starts moving. And today it did exactly that, down $3 from 153 open down into 150, looking like it wants to push lower. Unfortunately, like none of my levels are coming in right now. If anything, we could have shorted, I guess, the TQs there, or the NASDAQ anyways, at the 50-period moving average of 24,120. I don't know, man. I'm not super excited about that. I mean, oh gosh.
Here comes oil.
Yeah, there goes Palantir to the downside pretty aggressively. They're now breaking through that 150 marker all the way down. That could have just been a psychological push through 150 and then a washout down to 149.60, but nice move there for Palantir if anybody caught that little flush. Now it's starting to catch a bid, but seems like it's short-lived. Wow, everything. I don't know if anything's going up, man. I don't know. Well, I saw AMD.
I was hoping. Well, AMD and Marvell were the only
ARM.
ones I saw that were moving.
ARM is going.
ARM. You're starting to get going here on oils. Like USO was not moving at all. Now it's starting to get going and head back into the upside. When the second that happened, I went over to, well, forget about Intel because that's going to be gone. I went over to IBIT. If we're not going to get a shot to get anywhere near prior key levels. Like if you're not going to test 70,000 for a short on Bitcoin and IBIT, that's somewhere in this range between 39.7 and 39.8.
I might try the NASDAQ
I'll
here.
just try to play it off of maybe even VWAP, but somewhere inside of the range. Like take the consolidation short, which it is right now, and play into that. Because if energy is going to go up, I don't want to miss the move. And I feel like we've already, I say we, but I've already missed it in Intel. Could have had a chance at that one. So we're going to go into IBIT. Intel already hit $46 even.
Sharif is too funny about it. No, that's just a position alarm. That's all. No alarms.
It is
no
very
nothing.
distinct.
Yeah. Well, some people said that it sounds like every time we. Unfortunately, we had that comment of that. It was like some people are hearing that with their sort of bombs being dropped and whatnot. Maybe we shouldn't say that, but anyways, yeah, that's not the thing. Okay, so here we go. What I'm doing right now is just going to go short the market. I mean, we had liked the market short. I said that maybe we would short it against that 50-period moving average. So when we have an idea, man, I got to try to stick with it, or else, what else do we have if we don't trade the ideas that we have? So I'm going to do that. We said preparation is key. There it is, man. We get to 91, so we'll hit some bangs right there early. Just a quick little 10-cent scalp out right there of 20%. That's it. We'll see if we can hold for a bigger move. We don't have our full position. I was really hoping to get this up to VWAP, which is 43.12s. I'm actually at 43.13s right now. So right there at VWAP. And then I'm just going to use the high as our breaking spot, maybe the 200 period. If we just shoot up there immediately, we don't want to get stopped out like instant. But right now, 43, basically, what did I write down? 26. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to actually extend that. 43.31s is going to be the stop right now. I just want to make sure I put it in the right space. And then the other thing we had there written down today was silver short. That's only down 5% right now. It has made a move back. Oh, because it has made a move back up. Yeah, so it's still a big move down, as what Neil was saying there. But I do think that another short possible for silver. Just looking and trying to be patient and waiting for that price. I wrote down 63.50. Obviously, I would take 63 if we could get that there, some of those dark pool areas. But yeah, right now, one position. Okay, well, Neil's short. I had IBIT short written down too. And I guess
the levels aren't going to hit.
That's what I was going to say, like getting in. That's why the TQs, this is not necessarily the level that we love or I loved, but we're in it anyways. It's 10 cents for now, hopefully getting a little darker days in the NASDAQ for this trade. But who knows, man? We're bouncing off pre-market lows or sort of open lows right now. Here comes a nice move higher. Adara's, so Iran has officially responded. So let's go over to Adara. Iran has responded to the proposal. Let's go hear what Adara has on this one, because this is an easy way to get out of this trade.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't have anything more than you do, Sean. That's what I wanted to tell you guys, though. Iran has responded to the U.S. proposal that's being reported by Tasnim news agency sources. I am not seeing what said response was. So I saw like a link to some Telegram post. Telegram post is not in English. And again, super unclear, but either way, we are seeing reports that this 15-point proposal from the U.S. has been responded to by Iran. That's not the only story I want to mention, though. AAPL, and this is down quite sharply today, and it looks like it has to do with worries about competition from Meta. META, Midwest, I guess this agency saying that they think Meta could be competing here with AppLove and could be a bad look for APP. Back to you.
Well, that might have given an opportunity to pop into some resistance here. So got the reload at that pre-market high. It's not, okay, fine, 24-hour market. I'll call it the 918 high because it's not really the pre-market high. We have Hertz Scrambler. Thank you for the super chat. GLND and VCX. Sorry, GLND halted. Yep, that's right. I just checked my scanner as well. VCX and BTGO. Take note. Go. That's
take note. Marvell hit $100. Okay.
Blue Ocean alphabetically is going to be right there. You want to see BT. You want to see BTGO. That's a mover. The Halt Fest is going to be possible on that other name, that UGRO for sure. What's going on?
These guys are excited. These guys are excited about Marvell over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So someone said Marvell broke a hunch, and it did do that. So there it is, man. Spin the money for Marvell.
BitGo, by the way, I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. BitGo has traded 24,000 shares in the first 8 minutes.
BitGo down?
Well, I mean, it's literally not liquid. There's nothing you could do. You punched into this. You are the market on what anybody that takes a trade in BitGo. I'd be careful with that one. And forget about that last halt one. I think it should be opening up in about 4 minutes. It just halted. That was at GLND. The only thing I'm going to be is IBIT. We'll continue to fade off that pre-market high. I see nothing going on except downside. All of my charts.
It's so far.
Okay, come to me, please.
Like Intel just tanked again. We missed a shot. I wanted to pop and fade in Intel. I got to look at VWAP now. This is trending down heavily, Adara.
Keep an eye here on USO. This is going to be in watch here after. Again, we did have Iran laying out their terms here in their response to the U.S. Now, basically what they said here is the same thing they said yesterday. They are having some conditions here, which include an end to these hostilities, guarantees that the conflict will not resume. They want reparations, they want a ceasefire, and they want control over the Strait of Hormuz. Doesn't seem like there's anything markedly new or different with this response compared to the last response. Now, apparently also Iran responded last night. Now, this is going to be interesting because in less than half an hour now, about 20 minutes, we're going to get this cabinet meeting with President Trump. So we could get some kind of response from Trump live. Be very careful and very aware. I mean, if you're trading anything, but I think especially with oil. Back to you.
Okay, now, Andre, you can hit that money thing for real life. Because there it is, man. I mean, the TQs does make that move down. We do get a 75 print right there on that trade. So that's so far so good on that one as we wait to see how low we can go. But, I mean, again, it just seems like it's news on this response there by Iran. So just waiting to see what the market actually does to that. So we will empty out some of our clip down there as we do break the pre-market lows right there for the T triple Qs. So for me, again, I know we talk about this as the futures. It is a derived product. It's triple levered against the NASDAQ. So you'll see as a chart, it'll match it exactly, but just give a little bit different pricing, obviously, than trading a physical contract, whether or not you're looking at the minis or the futures contract themselves. This is what this is what the futures actually look like, just to give you an idea of why I don't trade them. I have M is the current contract. So, you're just going to see it's what is it, 1250 a tick. So, and you can also, moves much differently and looks differently than the physical stock at which the TQQ looks like. And so right there, just trading that as opposed to the futures. But you can see this is pretty violent right now, as we just were at 88s. Now you're back up to ones. So just looking different to me than the TQ. So I just stick over here. But either way, that's what I've been trading today, and it is a short right now for me. So that's what we're looking at. Marvell, man, I mean, that's what we were hitting the money sign for as well. This is a big one in my own personal account. Again, we talked about that with Scott earlier. This is like, in those 401ks. I do have some in the tax-free savings account, obviously. But there goes Marvell up 1.5%. I can't wait to see when the market's green what the stock is going to do. And there it goes, man, just breaking out. And we said that yesterday. And we had AMD busting through yesterday, 220. And I sort of thought that Marvell made a more important play. And that was finally getting over this 95 marker. So we closed higher than that yesterday. And now we're starting to break upside there. So Marvell continues to be the one there as it's working out quite nicely to the upside. But it could run into, again, resistance at 100. I mean, those are key levels. The highest I think we got before was 103. All right, I don't know what you're doing with, you'll discuss what you're doing with IBIT, but
just bounced off
futures, same thing.
We're still in the same range. So for now, I guess it'll be a range-bound low. You're basically going in between pre-market highs and the low of the day. It just bounced again, so I took another leg out. I just saw Figma make a big move, and I saw people in the chat mentioning about this. Figma up 3.5%. Hey, what is dead may never die. Is this it? Is this the bottom that finally? It's a double bottom here on the daily on Figma at $20. So I don't know. Like maybe it is. Look, I'm not going to pretend to be a gigantic fan of the stock, but I haven't seen a news story on it. We'll double check, and I know Adara will be on it. She's looking as well to see why you're
not loving Figma
move. Well, I mean, to each their own. I don't have to like every single stock in the market. I'm just kind of keeping real, but it is very strong so far here today. Worth watching out here because I'm watching USO, just kind of keeping a look. This is heading back underneath VWAP. So if we end up just trending down here, that could give us a bit of a bump. So I want to keep an eye on some of these shorts.
Almost got
oh,
there.
and by the way, SoFi, before we go back to Adara, SoFi is breaking higher. So it did a bottoming tail candle and breaking higher. So it could press back into these prior resistance levels here from yesterday. Adara?
I'm not seeing anything here on Figma, guys. I did look into it, and it's interesting, too, because I'm just looking at some of these other software plays. Looks like some of them are bouncing. It's funny because this Morgan Stanley note, we know that they were kind of bullish here in SanDisk and Micron after this turbo quant, but their overall note, they actually said with some of these software plays, there could be some margin issues with this turbo quant and some of the memory implications. But yeah, software right now handling this pretty well here. Also, apparently an intelligence source stating that Iran's response I guess mentioned that the terrorism and crimes must be ended. So again, just a lot of kind of posturing here reportedly happening with Iran in response to the U.S. offer. Back to you.
Yeah, it's like, thank you in the chat for mentioning it. It's like, I was looking for something specific in Figma, and then I looked over. It's like Adobe's up, CRM's up, Microsoft's up, IGV is up. So all the software names are going up. But it's still, what I would say is it's not a concern for the market if it wants to go up, because in a general sense, you like that to happen. But here comes USO not cratering, but trying to bust through some of those lows. If we end up, where's my tool? If we end up holding this trend down, and it's not even, that's not even a good wedge. If we end up holding that trend down, then to me, reevaluate where the shorts are going to be, because once you break out that pre-market high, you held the low. I think it was Luca used to say it. If you hold the low, there's only one place to go. Or if you can't break the low, there's only one place to go, if I'm quoting it correctly. And that means get out. Get out at the pre-market high. The original idea was supposed to be about the 70,000 mark on Bitcoin, which we could be heading into at this.
Wow, the market.
So that's where I'm going to wait for. But it seems like we got led by oil down and IGV up.
Okay, I'm going to get into some other positions.
So the second we saw that happen, that was a big shift. One name that stays weak, I always look back and say, when we're bouncing, if there's something that I like short that still looks bad, then it can be the one. Intel still looks like trash, despite the fact the market just broke VWAP. It didn't even get to VWAP. So at least this thesis, while we're reversing, looks like it can still be a short.
Yeah, we same kind of way there. I mean, it broke the pre-market high there, so we got out. We talked about that. We averaged into it. We wound up having a big position, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a huge hit because our average price was, I think, 17s or something. As we talked about that, we got out of our initial shorts there, and then we just started again at VWAP. When VWAP didn't start until 7 or 8s there, and then this was a bigger fill for me at 19, and then we got punched out at 31s on that break of your 200 period moving average. Because there was a wick higher there, I do understand that this is going to be something that I'm going to need to look at right now, and I was wondering if we do fade off of that now. It's that news there from Iran. I mean, it could be a game changer, if there is some acceptance of those terms in there. So I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes to wait to see what exactly this market wants to do, figure itself out. But that's normally a spot where you could get back in on a high wick like that. Just we didn't have a crazy amount of volume pushing us to that high there, but looks like it would have worked out. And we were short, basically, like I said, right here, 43.17, 43.18. We'll wait to see if we get one more pop up and then maybe re-engage in that short one more time. But for right now, just fading out. Again, we did get that positive news, hopefully, regarding this agreement, but I guess it's no agreement yet. Possible discussions happening. Let's go over to Adara and see if there's any more to this story.
Yeah, there's more comments here being reported by Tasnim from Iran, or the Iranian side of negotiations. They said that they're waiting to see America's response. They also said that it's clear that the U.S. claims of negotiation are a third deception project. So they're basically saying very clear that U.S. has not been truthful about the state of negotiations between the countries. Iran also saying that the war, or ending the war rather, must include all fronts. That includes resistance factions. So again, just some more restatements of what Iran would like to see here to end the conflict between the countries.
It's high school, back and forth. When was the last time the first thing we heard about the Iran conflict in the morning ended up being meaningful? I don't know. I feel like we're going to get something, we're going to get more back and forth. I care more about what the next thing we hear. Maybe like we get a truth, make sure you keep your ear to the ground. Adara's going to be all over it. So I will sort of stay the course. Like anything that fits your original thesis, fair, but if it's changed, then I want to back away. Oh, SoFi, I hate you. Okay, so like obviously I show Intel's still trending down underneath VWAP, but SoFi goes right into 16.5, which is that prior support, does the wick shimmy. I thought maybe I'd get picked up on that down candle, but obviously didn't get it on the way down. We wait for it to get to that 16.5 zone. It's putting in a topping tail candle. If it can do the same thing in here again, I'll try to short and give it to the high of the day. I haven't actually been in SoFi today, but I have taken a couple of shots and not gotten filled on it. The other thing worth mentioning is if you're tracking the first, from what I saw, the first thing that moved up, the IGV has gone green. You still have these software names going higher. That can be a good litmus. If they're like the tip of the spear for the market's struggling, then kind of makes some sense that if they make a turn, things get pretty nasty.
Yeah, we, just looking out here, we got back in to the TQs there. I said if it was gonna rip back higher, then we would try the short again. So we're back in it. Right now, we did take a fill right there at 25s or so. I think it was 27s actually. Yeah, 27. So now we'll wait for a little bit lower. I'm bidding in the teens. See if we get something around there. That would be VWAP. So that bottom wick there is 15. That's actually where we're sitting. So we'll see if we can get a play off of that level right there. So that's something that I'm looking to do. Right now, we'll see if that winds up firing off as well. Let's go check out some names that we know can blast. Tesla. So what a great name that's been for the longs. If you've been able to catch a long, Tesla's been a good one. And today, yeah, no different, man. Right off the open, does have a move back in, finds that bottom, again, at the pre-market lows, and then takes off to the upside, now dancing around pre-market highs. Will we take those levels out? Seems like it. I mean, this seems pretty strong. I mean, the NASDAQ is now holding above VWAP. I'm still short that, the market, and we've already talked about where I'm going to be getting out. That's at that recent high. A stock that somebody around here talks about, and that's Oracle. You're going to see Oracle right now with a move higher for some reason. It did tick down lower. I actually thought I was going to look at Oracle and say lower. Is the IGV, we're going to go to it there in 1 second. I just want to see what's going on with the IGV. Yeah, because it was upside. So Microsoft, probably Palantir. We know Palantir is a big part of the IGV as well. We talked about that yesterday. So here's Palantir bouncing off that 150, man, that psychological break. Oh, wow, okay, 149.50. We definitely missed that one. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye on this Fundrise Investment Fund, VCX, or Fundrise Innovation. Basically, they're a way that you can trade some of these private companies. A lot of people are seeing that this is a way you can publicly trade VC. Anyways, they're trading lower here, just opened from a halt after Citron announced that they are short VCX, saying that their assets are worth $19, but the stock was, at the time this came out, trading over 400 right now, guys. $260 stock. Before we go back to Sean and Neil, I also want to mention more comments coming out of Iran. We do have Tasnim reporting that Iran saying that sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz will, quote, remain its right. Back to you.
That's crazy. We talked about for some of these, like you get the first halt.
Yeah.
And finding an algo that can maybe, well, not an algo, finding a dark pool is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Finding a dark pool that can get you filled when it's at the halt band, the value of that is you catch the first move there. You don't even have to hold it for the low. You hold it for the reopen, and that's like $30 and 10% move for VCX. But that's a different style of trading because anyways, it's just anecdotally. What I have found is it's been exceedingly difficult when you get to the halt band to get filled before the halt. You used to be able to throw a bunch of orders out and get some liquidity, but it is what it is. That's going to be nasty, nasty. Saying it's worth 19, that Destiny ETF is worth, to me, half what its book is, and that's something that is well known, but that's extreme to say it's worth 5% of its current value. Is insane. All right, so we got our popping tail reversal, and SoFi is trying to push higher. The market's trying to go. Every time I see the market press higher, I'm like, okay, Intel's gonna pop. It's not.
No.
Intel is getting smoked. Micron is still a lot like Micron's bouncing off its lows. At least Micron's bouncing off the lows a little bit here. Something uniquely bad about Intel.
I still think short, but it's not printing. I don't know. Yeah, there's something unique about everything this morning. I mean, Palantir has a huge move down. Okay, Bitcoin's pushing. So again, like just small hits, man. I mean, we've learned our lesson about taking big shares and holding on to them. This breaks 50 again. So we went short. This was actually a flat trade because we're able to get some out down there for a much bigger win than this was a loss. But oh man, here comes the push again. All right, you know what? I'm going to do that strategy again where we go a little bit less shares now in hopes that we can hold on to to it for a little bit longer. So I still do like the short until I really do hear something. And I'm not trying to be like, this is not revenge trading. I'm not even down. Like, this is just, I really do think that this short right here is going to be fine. And I'm going to give it one more try. This is sort of where we were in the pre-market here. So we'll see if the market wants to give us it one more time. And right now it looks like it's going to hand it to me one more time. We're going to go short right there at the top, because always getting blown out at these top levels, you know, not something that I want to continue to do. So 43.71 or so is where we're going to chop out of this one. That will be that high that we had talked about. If it hits it, there's the TQs finally hitting the 50-period moving average as well. So happy to be short here and give it one last shot. If it doesn't, if it breaks back above here, then maybe we are in for a decent day. The NASDAQ started down pretty bad right there, and it's now kicking old school upside. So we'll see what winds up happening right now. 43.71, my final sort of line in the sand, I believe, anyways, for the TQQs. We're short now at 50.
Yeah, it's worth keeping an eye on oil right now. I think, you know, anything that's following the market, like, we're still trending down on USO. So I don't have a third point to have an obvious trend line, but clearly, you know, it's easy to see. If we fill in the entirety of the gap, that's crazy in a bigger move, but the pre-market support was at about 115.50. So we're getting to that point where you could potentially have a bounce. I keep checking, like, the names that I'm watching here. Like, SoFi did the topping tail, doesn't break the high. Still has this little thing going on. It's kind of weird. I thought it had broken this trend line when I got in, but technically it didn't. So it's a small rule break, but if it holds underneath trend and loses VWAP, I think this is an add and play it back into 60. It's not making fresh highs when the market's making fresh highs, which is good. And then back on over to what had been one of the weaker names I'm watching. Still trend down on Intel. I feel like if the market turns around down, this is already down, so that's slim pickings. It can't seem to get to VWAP, so I'm going to nibble in shy of VWAP and maybe give it to a prior bar entry. But it's the only thing I can see that's clearly trending down.
Oh, Intel? Did AMD retrace backwards?
Well, actually, I mean, it did, but it's holding the line very well on AMD. Like, okay. AMD bounced right off the pre-market lows and is giving a decent consolidation. And the difference, maybe it's a distinction without a difference, but Intel just continued to make fresh lows. So if I short the pops there, at least, I feel that has a better chance to break and get to the low of the day. Still keeping an eye on Bitcoin. We're not at 70,000 yet. We're at 69.7. Okay. This feels trappish. It's like if this gets to 70,000 and then just reverses and everyone's trapped in the long there. If the NASDAQ just kind of pulls into like overnight consolidation levels, right? Like, this is like yesterday's lows we basically can't even break through at this point. Then you could have a little bit of an early trap, like a bit of a chop fest. We've seen chop fests at the open where you press higher, dump, and then you just slowly go into a downtrend before. So I'm not overreacting. I'd rather just be patient.
Let me ask this question one more time here, because the market right now is retraced almost half. So get into the chat right now. This is still a live poll. Get in there right now and let me know, let us all know what you are thinking about the market here today. Do you think we're going to wind up green or red? Hit your ones or twos right now, and we'll check back in just a couple minutes. 10 o'clock. I don't know if we have any numbers coming out or not, but that's
no
good.
Numbers,
no
but
numbers.
Trump is going to start his cabinet meeting.
It's the same. This is the same poll as before. So you can see here it's been open for 1,800 seconds. But yeah, hit the one or the two, and now we're okay. People still thinking red. All right, all right. I'm still red as well, but there's a stock voting game. We will check that back. You guys can hit ones or twos no matter what the platform you're on. Do it, and do it now. All right, man, we have a couple hundreds of shares of the TQs, not thousands, but we just took a piece out there at 44. We'll see if it makes a move down in. I do have another bit at 41s here, just trying to make back a little bit, like we said, taking our own advice yesterday when we asked, oh man, it just bounced off me at 41, come on. There, okay. Yeah, let's go. We're almost green on this already, just with this little bit of a move here, as we're not going huge. At the end of the day, we talked about maybe potentially until you get that sort of kill shot level, which I don't know if we're there yet, we need to trade a little lighter. And like I said, take a little bit less shares for me. And I already talked about this 10 minutes ago, what my plan was. Take a little bit so that we could take a lot, or you know, what we wanted to near the top. And that way we can hold on and not have to worry too much about this sort of downside push. And we would have something on board if this winds up happening. I'm bidding 31s. I don't know why we didn't get filled. Oh, I'm bidding 30s there. So we'll wait to see if we can get a 30 fill. Right now, you know, again, trading less, looking for a little bit bigger move. So one more fill for me down there would be key. And then, okay, there it is, 32s. Yeah, there's our 30s. Let's go. So now we're starting to print a little bit here and get excited back in the market as there we go back to the downside. So, you know, from red to green real quick there on the TQQs, and finally good. So I don't know what level SoFi is at, but it's good that you got that price because I know we wanted to look at SoFi shorts.
Well, it's actually, SoFi is just breaking trend right now. It's Intel, again, for whatever reason, it's like one of the weakest names out here. You know what? We'll talk this about. I still feel like this was long term, this could be headed back down to the low 40s. But we're breaking the low. I think we can fill the gap. Going to continue to short the pops. When the market turns, the name that was already weak, a heck of a lot easier to work into. SoFi just broke trend, got under VWAP.
Don't got clawbot going on over here.
But it's the only thing that we're on. And USO, coincidence, is it a coincidence? USO put its first 3-minute green candle in.
Boom.
Just as we were bouncing off the low. So going to continue to watch this. If it completely reverses trend, we're toast. Well, sorry, the market's toast, I think. But that hasn't happened yet. Like, you're still kind of channeling down on USO. So you want to take your profit. But if this trend reverses, bye-bye
be careful.
market.
There's a lot of headlines.
Yeah, we just had another. So USO just shot back down. So another reason to take profit, Adara.
I mean, y'all, just happening now while I'm here. We don't have any numbers. President Trump is going to be speaking at his cabinet meeting. It's supposed to be at 10 a.m. We know it could be on time or not, so I'll keep you posted. But the latest news here does concern oil. And again, it's just more comments here coming from the leaders of Iran with regards to the proposal of the U.S. It's really nothing new. But now I guess a senior Iranian official reportedly told Reuters that Iran has reviewed the U.S. proposal that was conveyed to Iran via Pakistan, and they said that it's one-sided and unfair. So we kind of already knew this. Like, it's really nothing we didn't know, but I am seeing a lot of headlines, just the same headlines over and over being repeated. Furthermore, the senior Iranian official telling Reuters that diplomacy is, quote, not stopped, and that if realism prevails in Washington, a path forward might still be found. So they're saying we could be open to negotiation at some point, but right now, not liking the proposal that was brought forward, or at least conveyed to them by Pakistan through the U.S. Let's take a look here at SMCI. This name did gap down, though, right now, sort of trying to recover here, as we have news that there's going to be a securities fraud lawsuit here against the company after this NVDA China chip sales allegation. Last but not least, META and Focus, a couple different headlines here. For one, we know yesterday Meta and Google were both implicated here, and they're going to be forced to pay some fines or damages, rather, in this lawsuit, basically saying that both companies led to mental health harms with regards to social media. So those companies going to be on watch here. But another Meta-related headline involves AAPL. APP gap down very sharply after we had Midwest, I guess, a firm here saying that they think AAPL could be facing some competition from META. Back to you.
So, yeah, thanks, Adara. I love that little transition over there. Who's got that over there? Fabian. What's up, Fabian? Yeah, just to let you guys know, man, I mean, we went right into VWAP. We were celebrating when that was happening, so we do clear out a good part of our position. When you get the high of the day back into VWAP, especially when you're so headline-driven, man, you got to get out. And then we panicked on the way up. We did punch a little bit there at 20s, and then we punched a little bit more, or we got filled a little bit at 45s there as well. And I'm bidding again, you know, low 40s, mid-30s, you know, just to see if we can empty out. Just too many headlines right now coming in. And as Adair had mentioned, it's like the headlines sound good, then they sound bad, then they sound good. Like, I don't, yeah, and then to Adair just saying here, and you might have heard, like, they're just all the same thing back and forth. So, you know, it's not the greatest time, I mean, to look right now to trade the futures. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. It's just a back and forth and really choppy.
Even look at oil.
Up here, I'm assuming oil is probably the same. Or oil's actually a little more cleaned down.
Remember when we were just saying oil had put in that first green candle? Then there was that last piece of news from Adara. Look at the next candle on the 3-minute. It's effectively like a $1.20 candle. And this happened, I got a good end of one yesterday on this. But I think after 10 o'clock on 15-minute candles may be the way to look at this. But we are still trending down, unfortunately. The software names, I shouldn't say our software names, because not everyone owns
the software names, yeah. Well, I own almost all those stupid names.
Well, I was pulling up, what? Dare hit enter 3 times. CrowdStrike is still at the highs, up 2%. And you look at that, we talked about Adobe, IGV in general, they're all still looking very strong. So that can be important. I'm going to stick with like,
SanDisk down 7%.
you're getting like SanDisk and
just to talk
Micron are getting
about something,
smoked.
yeah.
I feel like Intel's catching part of it, and maybe they're catching a stray. But it was a little bit late to catch this trend, so we are short off some of the lows. It's very steep, but if we break this bar, I'll go out with a break-even exit because we're shorting at the low of the day. But for now, it's trending down, and let's go to Adara. More headlines, and happening now, I think.
What do you want to do, Andre?
No,
Okay, let's go to Adair, then come back to me.
my bad.
I kind of baked in happening now in that latest throw because there was news and it was around the same time and I just kind of wanted to cover everything. So again, Meta is going to be on watch with a couple headlines there. USO, of course, an evolving situation, and SMCI. That was the happening now update I gave a couple minutes ago. Let's talk about Redwire, though. RDW on watch after James Altucher issues a potential takeover note saying that this could be a buyout play and it could, quote, 50 times your money. So RDW with that buyout note. Also, keep an eye on oil, hearing that sirens are now sounding in northern Israel. Back to you.
Sirens again. All right, guys, markets have been extremely active lately. For traders, this kind of environment creates opportunity. Big moves means more setups and more momentum. But to really take advantage of these conditions, of course, as that's what we're trying to do, you want to be with Trade the Pool. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more fear of moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, please go ahead and visit tradethepool.com and scan that QR code right there to grab your 10% off. You always got to get that discount, man. We'll take that right there. So make sure you do scan that. And thank you. We will have, I believe, Steve Tileman on. You were mentioning maybe later on today. So that should be good there. Analyst. I'm just going to click on his name to make sure he's still with Trade the Pool. Yes, Steve Tileman, analyst from Trade the Pool with Neil and I today at 2:45.
It's got to be hard having the name Steve after the Minecraft movie.
Yeah. I mean, or just in general. But shout out to Steve right there. Yeah, the Minecraft movie. That was a fun one. We saw that one in theaters, of course. Chicken Jockey, what up? Yeah, so there's the move down on the TQs. And like we said, getting lighter and lighter. I have half the position on still, so all good. And I told you where I was bidding, man. Low 40s, high 30s. So we actually wind up getting both of those right there as we make a move right back to the upside again. I'll take one more short, like at the highs of 65, and then stop out at 70 if we break that level. We are red so far today on the NASDAQ, but very, very small, and willing and obviously holding on to see if we can get a bigger move down. Although I feel like the move is up right now. I don't know. I'm not really getting the feel of complete risk off day. I mean, if anything, the market has really retraced higher and is now basing here off of VWAP and looking to take out some of these levels. So I'll go short just because I do think we are far away from any real positivity. But who am I to hold through if the market disagrees and wants to go higher? So I'm going to be stopping out of this trade if and when we break that high, which seems evident right now. So I'll take, there you go, I'll take a little bit here at that extreme top. And then if we come back in, like we are now moments away, obviously, from grabbing that stop out. So if it does come in, you guys know what we're doing. We're short at 60. Like I could take a 10-cent hit here. So, almost regardless of the share size. So we'll see what winds up happening. We do have a decent position on. We're short at 60, giving it 10 cents. So if it does come into the low 50s, we will take out about 15% and start to try to play with house money, as I'm not sure the house knows what it wants to do. There we go. There's our 53s. Let's go, man. Hit the sirens again as we get a little bit out there. And it's not... I appreciate the love, Sharif, but we're not really doing too much here. All we did was short that little pop, waiting to see if there is more of a dramatic move down, and obviously just scalping out of this position. And, different days require different strategies. And right now it's I don't know. It's looking pretty long to me, actually. I don't know. I don't know.
Funny you say that.
That's what it's looking like.
Well,
Whether or not it hits, who knows?
Obviously, different stocks are going to make different moves, but like look at
I'm gonna
USO.
put another bid out here.
USO is making another curl.
Is it?
So
Okay,
it just did a
that's
bottoming tail candle, is doing another bit of a curl. If this trend breaks,
that.
you know what happens. Well, I shouldn't say you know what happens. We have an idea of what can happen. So we were late to the Intel short. We're going to short pops as long as that downtrends. SoFi is doing the same thing, which is good, because it's holding. It didn't really, so I was kind of in before it broke the trend line, but now it's kind of confirming. You lose VWAP, I think that heads to the low. And now all of a sudden IBIT double topped. So that gets spicy again. We already took a hit on IBIT early, and then you get this double top in here. That's looking like another confirmation for a bit of a fade. So if we can get the USO breaking out, then that's the shift that I think you want to look for. And I know there's a lot of names I see people asking about, DraftKings and that Halt stock.
Okay, the market's tanking.
Oh, we just
I mean, I don't know if it's tanking or not, but we just got our fills there.
Yep, here we go.
So there it is, man. Let's go. There it is. This is exactly like, if I could just rewind and just be a little more confident in what I was saying. I was confident in what I was saying, but like putting on maximum risk there. This was 10 cents worth of risk. I hope you guys notice what I was talking about right there. It's now 3-1. On this move down. So we will take some more bids out. We just talked about where we were sitting on those bids. So now it's 30 cents in the money. And when I took this short, I said, okay, we're now short at 60. We're getting stopped out at 70 break. So there it is, man. Good trade there on the TQQs as it makes that move down. Now we just wait. My next bid's in the teens at 17. So I was going to actually wait for VWAP. Let's put it to 21 and see if that winds up filling. But there it is. So far, so good. Actually, I'll just go a little bit higher. Let's go to like 23. So far, so good here on this initial move for the futures. And I just think it's going to be back and forth right now. And you were just talking about oil there. I don't really know what the right answer is, but we'll go short and try to hold out for VWAP now. And then hopefully it crushes that. We'll have half left and then downside. As I made a mental note of trading, I think it's Sharif talked about this with his app that he was building there, his little widget there, about going R to R and making sure that, if you're going to have, 1,000 shares or something, if it goes in the money for you, you can get out of 500 for your risk. So if you're risking 10 cents, if you get out of 500 shares for 10 cents, or whatever your shares is, 5 shares, doesn't matter, you get out for half of your position, then you're obviously rolling with house money moving forward. So if you do get that big move down, you're there and you can make that cash. Or if it chops around and you get stopped out, at least, you're not stopped out of the full load. And, sometimes we lose like right into here when this, oops, where's my, there it is. When it just runs VWAP and then runs the 200 period on you, like I got to get out. So this is one where you take the L. That's why, right now we'll be flat on it, but waiting to see if we can get positive on the TQs because of this real hit right there. Everything else has been very, very controlled, but we need to get a VWAP take in order to make some sort of cash here. So all the way to the downside, 43.23s is where we're sitting. Maybe we could throw our hands up in the air, but we won't wave them like we just don't care because we do care.
Taught my daughter hip hop hooray at the dinner table last night.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's nice. She's going back and forth.
It was a very important lesson. I think I try to get the important lessons done at a young age. We almost had a riot at our school in junior high about hip hop hooray. But just back to the market for a quick little second. So, SoFi, it probably broke trend here, but I would add the same price anyway, so it ends up not mattering. But technically, I did short this before it broke trend. So we're looking for that low of the day print. The next time it comes in, we'll short the pops on that. Intel's still. And we got the pop. It hasn't really broken another fresh low, but it's still trending down pretty decently. USO refuses to do anything. I feel like we're just, I don't know. I'm not going long this, but it feels like every time it wants to go, it's like it's just shaking you up enough. Like if you've been trying to grab the longs for a reversal here, it's just not happening, and we're still trending down. So I think taking profit makes sense as long as this trends. There just doesn't seem to be a break in this trend down on oil yet, which is giving some strength into the market. JKL, thank you for the super chat again. Your trading plan for today, OBJ. Oh, what is OBJ? Jump into SLV, get on plane to the beach. Okay, just don't land the plane on the beach.
That's exactly
right?
what. Well, it depends what beach.
Yeah. No, you're not landing a plane on any beach.
Private beach, I mean.
Oh, in the water?
Yeah, you need to have a tarmac, I guess.
Yeah, you figure that one out.
I asked him which way is he thinking about for silver.
Well, it's stair-stepping upside right now, but it's trying, this is like USO, it's trying to break this trend. It's just not doing it.
He likes the long.
He likes long, yeah, it's been stair-stepping up. Off the open, higher low, it's trying a higher low right now. So the trend is your friend till the end when it bends. We always say that.
I mean, that's
Very much true.
Yeah, very much true. And that's exactly why I talk the way I do about, make your money and run. And I think that is, the ideal play for all traders, is to try to make your play, be comfortable with it, set your stops, set your ins, set your outs, and enjoy life. So shout out to you there on the beach very, very soon. Congratulations. And I hope silver works out for you, because right now I still actually, I don't necessarily, I said today was going to be a risk-off day anyways, so definitely, I just took a bid there at 39. It only went down to 30s, the futures there, like it bounced again off VWAP clean. Unfortunately, my VWAP for TQs didn't fill yet, so there you go. So sometimes there are little differences. But yeah, SLV, you might be right on that one for sure. I mean, you do have support at the 200 and at VWAP right now. So silver's actually looking pretty strong as a rebound play right here for the market. So I wouldn't hate on that. We were down over 6% at one point there on silver, now up down 4%, but retraced now a 1.5%. So that's going to be a good one. Just to give you guys a little bit of an update there. So we didn't get into VWAP here for the TQs like we did, I'm seeing anyways, for the futures. So that was a missed opportunity. We waited there. I told you at 23s, did not get that. And then now I put a bid here at 30 to try to grab that. We did get a little bit of a dip buy there at 37. So that was a decent out for me there. But just waiting to see what the next sort of, where the next shoot is to drop. And right now, I don't know. So we're going to sit in that trade and then talk about some more things, right? I mean, that's what we're here to do about, is to give you guys some more trade ideas. All right, so you're already in SoFi. I was going to look at that next.
Oh, the other one, very quickly.
Yeah, go.
There's two things happening that I want to mention. One, I see this, USO pressing right back into the low. I joined the trend late, but that's still, it doesn't matter if I join it late. It's the under VWAP trend that I'm working with. So when it breaks back up, I got to get out. So Intel will turn into a flat trade. Some point, I still think we're teetering on a reversal in USO. I'm trying to be patient with it. SoFi is just sort of continuing its slow grind after breaking its trend, still looking for that low of the day. But what was even better was SMCI. So this is a fail. SMCI, if this wick is real, I wasn't watching this at the open. If it really shot to exactly $24 and did a reversal in the same minute, that's crazy. But more importantly, that also gave a trend break. Remember, SMCI was battling with the post scandal, smuggling scandal top at 24, so it rejected that, it's trend down. I think this is a short the pop situation because SMCI has the benefit of potentially being crap even if the market goes up. So I like that outlook a little bit more, and it's already showing you weakness here at SMCI. So I think, I don't think that initial candle was any good, but you certainly could have had that trend break. It's very similar setup to SoFi.
All right, we got short again. I don't know. I just shorted 60s again, our average price 60. We had this trade before. We actually had a better price before. It just ran to the upside. Again, like we're 10 cents away from getting stopped out again on this trade. So to me, this is just strong. And I said we give it another shot until it finally breaks that, and then we'll stop doing it. And then maybe we'll look to see about buying weakness or just give up on this short because we're getting filled and we're making money. It's fine, but it's not what we want. I mean, obviously we want to make more money, but that's not the case. Right now, it's resisting. I'm not looking at this as a PL trade. That doesn't matter to me right now because we're not actually putting on good risk, but we're not giving it much room. So I don't expect, this one to be a home run or anything. It's just we're not breaking back down below VWAP. So we do have to rethink this short. And that's what I'm doing right now. So we just got a bid out there at 55, honestly, for 5 cents. I'm bidding again at 50s. Hopefully we can get a dip down there and then go. I mean, you know what? I'm just getting nervous. I'm actually going to take. All right, well, now maybe we can get 50s. There it is. Yes, good thing we didn't change it. All right, another one-to-one Sharif guy. There it goes as we take another one-to-one out for a little bit. We could still get run, but that seems to be the playbook right now, and I'm not happy doing it, but, we're happy putting some money in our pocket for now. Let's see how low it can go, but I'll take another bid there. Getting nervous. I'm not sure if this is going to break up or down. Just a quick check on USO, just to see. Hopefully we got a negative correlation there. USO going down, market going higher. What else is new? Right there.
It's got a ton of support right now on the bid, though, at 115.5.
Okay, well, I don't like that.
Like, it goes right in. It's actually an uncanny how much pressure it goes right into this overnight level, and then it just gets bought right back up. It's just a 50-cent range over and over again. Whatever direction this breaks, is going to set the course for the next half an hour, I think, on oil. It's just not doing a break. So I'd rather sit in something. Like, I'm looking for reentry in IBIT off that double top. It hasn't given the high again. So there's really nothing really to work off of if it doesn't break VWAP or doesn't press back into the high. I want distinct levels, or I want something to hold on to that trend, which is obvious. That's why I'm looking at SMCI. But we just got a couple of super chats, and we can throw them up there anytime there, Andre.
Beauty.
I can do it too. Adventure Dog, LA. Whoever called BBY in the chat, thank you. So nice to trade independent stocks with volume. They trade so clean. Caught it both long and short. That is the thing about something that is not going to follow the market if you can find it. I mean, sometimes maybe it will. When it's got its own thing, insane. BBY. So shout out to the chat, which is undefeated. That's the best part. And for anyone that is, you're listening right now or watching right now, and you are not in the chat, hit the subscribe button now. How about nowish? Jump in there, ask questions, participate. We got polls. We have a great community, and they're always sharing ideas just like we are trying to do as well. So big shout out to the chat. Thank you for the super chat there, Adventure Dog. Adventure Dog LA. Let's go to Adara for the small cap recap.
Let's kick off this small cap coverage with a name we all know pretty well here, Firefly Neuroscience, AIFF, confirming a public-private partnership with the Pentagon. This is a name that, of course, has rallied in the past. Friend of the show, and they also here have about 11.5 million share float, 13% of which is sold short. EEIQ, Epic Quest Education Group. EEIQ, no news on this one, though they did have a recent reverse split, 1-for-16 reverse split as of February 17th that went through. Nearly $15 million market cap, float of just 860,000 shares, so sub-million share float, 7% short float. NAVN, last but not least here, guys, you've got, I think, around a 10% short float here, more or less, for this name. This is a slightly larger market cap, about almost $3 billion market cap. They did have earnings, revenue growth of about 30%. Year over year for NAVN. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. I mean, I'm just waiting for this market to eventually go short here. I mean, we've been shorting all of these tops all morning long, right into there, and we'll put it up on Twitter, but finally starting to go down, and there it is again. There's your nether 2-to-1. I mean, I don't know, as a trader, you know, this is what we're trying to do, is put the risk to reward, that's what we talk about when we talk about R2R, in your favor. So we're out of half right now, as we had discussed, as this breaks back down below, and we actually were able to get much better than 1-to-1, as we just talked about. We got some at 40s there, and then that one was at 47, so not much better, but close enough. And I'm actually just gonna put out one more fill right here at 43s, just, I don't know why, randomly. And if we can grab that, then fine, and then we'll wait for lower, right? I am bidding still where we are down here. That's the 50-period moving average, so I do have a bid down at 33, and then I have a bid at 23 still, and then we'll see if we can fall back in. So just a little bit of a fill, hopefully coming in on the name, and we just put a 43 there. Hopefully we can grab that, and then I said, and then a 35, and then we'll get lower as we go. So there we go. We get the 43. There it goes. Yeah, same. Good point there. Backbone video. SQQ. And I want to say shout out to everybody watching on TikTok. Everybody watching everywhere. You know, trading SQQ same kind of way. So what you'd be doing is going long down there at the bottom if you're thinking of, you know, maybe the market going the other way. So I just choose the TQQs just because we don't pay borrowing costs over here on this name, and I'd just rather be short if the market's going down than long, you know, the inverse product. So for me, buying power, risk, and shorting is not a problem, so that's why I choose TQQ. It's funny that the SQs is actually more expensive. So if you do have a lesser account, maybe TQs or something else.
Or some brokers.
Yeah, SPYX.
It's important to say, at real trading, we don't have to pay to short. Some brokers you probably do.
Right there, Backbone said it was short sale restricted for him. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like sometimes it is restricted, and that's fine. Just at real trading we have the advantage, and I like to shout it out because it's worth saying. At real trading, 99% of the market is free borrows for us, being a large day trading prop desk. But with the same thing, I don't know how many times it's going to happen, but again, USO tries to break out. Market goes to VWAP, USO goes to the top of the range and comes back in. So we just hit the pre-market lows on SoFi. So I'm gonna look for the reload, another topping tail candle that reverses. Hopefully I get a better price this time. But we did empty out of most of it. And we'll look for the curl here in USO and SoFi. But right now you're heading back into the upside. I want to continue with that trend if we can. My goodness, those memory names, they're trying to go as well, but this has still been trend down. That's Micron. Micron's coming into VWAP and looking a little bit weak. And then the other name, before we get to Apple, I see you there, Danny, that's popping back up. Could be a chance to get into SoFi finally. So missed opportunity when SoFi was breaking trend. SMCI was as well, and it was better. But if this gets into VWAP and gives me a chance to short lower highs, I will. I haven't heard anything with regards to Apple. So you guys tell me if there's any news, because Apple's going absolutely ham.
Is it?
And I haven't seen or heard anything. It's up, well, it's up 1%. It's how it's gotten there. The clean bounce off 251. Like, look, Apple's chart on the daily, this is starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
This is really good.
Talked about that
Apple.
yesterday off that 250.
And the 15-minute chart looks extremely good. Like, everything about this is seemingly around about, oh, we did break this local high.
Come on, Apple.
We've broken the local high at 255. Oh, you know what? No, we haven't. This is the top. Always let the chart fully fill out. I knew there was another top in here. 256.75. Just go all the way back to the 13th, so like a couple of Fridays ago. And you got a bit of a resistance level, then another gap up here on Apple. But good job so far with Apple. Adara, any news?
No, I couldn't find anything. It's worth noting social media attention on this is like GME levels when that was really hot, like you're getting multiple tags a minute. Also, just be aware, seeing this headline, I think this could be an older headline being resurfaced, but I'll mention it regardless here. Neither stock moving too much on this, but Global Foundries reportedly filing patent infringement suits here against Tower Semiconductor at the ITC and in Texas federal court. Back to you.
Yeah, no news there about Apple, but it's definitely hurting my TQ position, that's for sure, because as one of the largest holds in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, of course, is Apple. But we just took out some more fills right there at 51, so taking that, and now I'm going to actually cancel my 35 and wait for VWAP. I just took too many shares out there, so now we have 40% left, and fine with that. I wanted to do better than 1-to-1, so you know what? I'm going to convince myself and just put a bid. I'm just going to go low, put a bid there at 44s. Maybe we'll get another trade happening there. Okay, let's check back in on that silver trade as we were talking about that one. So yeah, still ticking higher. Good job there. I do hope that you did go to the beach and put on your silver long and see what's going on right over there. So congratulations for that. I did also want to go over Sector Watch just real quickly here, just to have a quick look to see what is moving around other than the names, of course, that we're trading. I mean, I'm still short the market. Neil's still short SoFi over there. All right, so Broadcom, NVIDIA, Google, there's Meta. Meta getting absolutely killed again, man. I was saying that I don't think valuation for Meta is overly important at this level. There's, you know, a lot of lawsuits and whatnot flying through for Meta, and they did not come out favorably for them yesterday. Google, there's Apple. We'll wait for that story. I think it's just a better Siri on the way, and everybody knows it, and I think that will, once that's finally released, you'll see Apple Moon. That's the reason why I bought it at 205. And it's been working out well since then. And I still think that we wait for a major rollout and a major announcement. I just did update the iOS yesterday. There was a new one. I think it was active, something about playlists and things like that. Yeah, this is what I was going to show you guys. Lam Research down 7, AMAT down 5, not good. GV, I mean, GV is so hot anyways. It's a nice move there. I don't know what's Lumentum Holdings there. Yeah, LIT is not lit today. It's actually a little light on what's doing, down 5.5% right there for LITE there today. And then just going back in here, like a name that's really broken, in my opinion, Eli Lilly, like down to 907, not a good one. One of my picks for this year, down 16% since we made that one. Not going well, man. Eli Lilly down 1% when everything else is kicking okay. Was there...
Novo Nordisk got down to...
Yeah,
we
talked about it, maybe a flip up in that.
GLP, like these lows are no GLP lows for a Novo.
Right.
Like this double bottom in here, like that's before everything blew up. Like it's insane how far that came back in. For Lilly to be where it is and Novo to be at those lows is a miracle, as far as I'm concerned.
Miracle drug. Yeah, was there news or anything about Eli Lilly there? Okay, good. Yeah, because it's kind of strange that the market, the biopharmas and whatnot over there were all green. And we did have, as Adara says, Miss Lily on the red side of things right there. Shout out to Adara, of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Adara. All right, so there it is, man. Yeah, spin it one more time for your boy over here. As there it goes, man. We did get that 2-to-1 again over there on the TQQs. So this is the benefit of trading something that's a little more active, obviously, as we look for something to do. The market's been pretty choppy. I now just wait for a break. So whatever, man. I mean, I can't just keep on getting out of everything or else it's just going to be a flat day, which it is right now. It's a completely flat day for me. I've only traded the TQs and looking for other names to get involved with. I do think that Apple's worth it. I did want to look at Google. They released, you know, what's been
highs right today.
No, I don't want to buy. No, I don't want to get involved in any of these today. Google not doing anything either. Come on, man. It looks like Meta downside, Apple upside. Those were the names that we've missed here today as far as bigger moves. And then Palantir did have that base at 149.50, which was just stupid for me not to have looked there because we were on that when it was breaking 150. I should have just kept it up, man. No wonder why Obi wants 12 screens.
Some of these chip names are getting moked.
Yeah, AMD started off so hot.
AMD opened up going $5. It's now absolutely trending lower. Just finally got a pop in SMCI to be able to get short that one. So some of these chip names that are under VWAP, I want to short the pops where you can. As we're going to go back to Adara at the desk. She's got more for us.
Yeah, I do have an update here with Apple. So this came out around 9 a.m. So there's kind of a story here with AAPL. It's not massive, though, and I would say it's probably bigger for the other companies that are involved. But I guess they announced this morning at 9 that they're going to be spending $400 million through 2030 on new programs with Bosch, Cirrus, TDK, and Qnity Electronics to manufacture some essential materials and components in U.S. So obviously, the story here is that, okay, we now have Apple relying on the U.S. more and less so in China. I think that's a good look there for AAPL. But other than that, that's the only headline I'm seeing on this.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see it. I mean, again, a good headline, but the move seems to be a little extended. But okay, man, there it is. So we're cruising. Oh, that's Palantir. Sorry, TQs. We're bidding 30s. Can we get it? Can we get it? No, still can't get it. But we're waiting. Okay, I'm just going to punch some out there at 34s. Oh, we get 33.5 there on the punch. It just made a move down, so we'll take that. I saw it bouncing. I was waiting for 23s there. I put a bid at 30, didn't get filled. Now we're filled. Yeah, Nat Gas out here at 10:30. Did you hear what that number was there for Nat Gas?
I couldn't really catch it.
Negative 54 million versus negative, 54 billion versus negative 49 billion expected.
Okay, so there you go. Thanks.
There was a spike up in Boyle. It retraced it almost immediately. So immediate retracement. Boyle broke the high and then came back underneath. So it's looking like a kind of a nothing burger here. But yeah, that could be nasty. Ooh, UGRO just halted again.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about before. Oh, my bad, guys.
Oh, up. Okay, I actually wrongfully assumed that any halt was going to be to the downside. You're halted at the highs on UGRO. It's halted at 30.46. The tap is flat, at least for now, the tap. The theoretical auction price, for those that are just tuning in, if you've never heard us say that before, it's indicating an open flat, but this might be turning around. Maybe the squeeze isn't done with this. I kind of felt with these, a lot of times, like the first day is sometimes the best that you're going to get. If it gaps down after day one, then for a couple of days it kind of languishes. So SMCI under VWAP, if we break VWAP by a few shekels, I'll get out of that one. And you're still not seeing any real move. I know we saw Boyle. Boyle only made that move because of Nat Gas. They actually had the number come out. But you're still very slowly and slightly trending down here on USO. It refuses to stop making these higher lows. If this breaks the trend, like that's the point where any short I'm in, I want to be adding to it if I can, and even just taking this trend line break. But it's not doing it on USO. There was one trend break. There's a couple of big ones into VWAP where it got wicked up yesterday, where if you got one of these like into VWAP and bouncing, it was huge, but that was on an uptrend. So it just kind of held the trend all day long, and there were like really quick snap reversals that you could scalp in. I had one of them, and then that was my best trade, but it's not breaking this trend here downside. It does mean we're probably going to be in a bit of a choppy range until we break this consolidation here on oil. I feel like that's still going to lead the market, no matter what. Who's getting smacked?
Meta, yeah. It sure is, man.
That is a problem.
Yeah, Meta's been a problem for a minute there. What we can throw back to Adara for the Meta story, but we did talk about it yesterday. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they basically, in the span of 24 hours, had 2 verdicts against them. One of them, the first one, came out on Tuesday night. That was related. It was a slightly different trial here than the second one. The second one was related to social media and the impacts on mental health. And then the first one, slightly more general. The first one damages, like I said, over 300 million. Second one damages for Google and YouTube, or sorry, Meta and YouTube combined, it was going to be 3 million each, punitive and compensatory. So 6 million in damages total. Meta's going to be paying 4.2 million, so 70% of that, Google, or YouTube rather, which of course owned by Google, to pay the remaining 1.8 million.
How many people would have to actually, how big of a class action, with those numbers, how big of a class action before you dent into the cash?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big problem with all that is the fact that it's you're talking about what's next.
Yeah, it has to be what's
the
next.
money that they're...
Because it's not about this.
No, that has nothing to do with anything right now for that. But yeah, Meta downside. Oh, by the way, we just got our TQs finally. Remember, we bid 43.30. We just got those right down there. But yeah, look at Meta. When will it stop? Yeah, just to your guys' opinions there, down 4%, which is big, man. That's hundreds of billions right there on the market. Not hundreds of billions, but 100 billion or so on their market cap of, what was it, 3.5 trillion? I'm not sure what it is anymore. Maybe it's lower than that now. But 570, yeah, for Meta. Like, I remember when traders were thinking 600 for Meta was the top. The bottom for Meta. It looks like right now that would be a dream to get that back up to 600. And I think it does happen, right?
I don't think the numbers that matter for Meta, when you're in a downward trend, I don't think the price levels matter so much as you start thinking about like individual valuation numbers. Like I'm thinking 16. So if it goes from 19 to 16 PE, then I'll be like, okay, well, fine. Who's going to not like it at a 16 PE? That'll be a different story, because when you're downward trending, the support levels aren't going to make that much of a difference. Like Google, if Google gets down to 21, I think that's going to be a good spot to look. 21, and then if it gets another, I don't know, probably wouldn't wait for $5 lower. It's interesting because we were talking this morning, it was more of a discussion if you got to these retracement levels. I believe Scott was saying it was like 10% down, 20% down. I usually look at once a quarter if it's in a downward trend. I try not to pick price, or I look at when it gets to good historical price to earnings. Because it's like you're just picking something when you like a company, but it's broken. You're just picking a spot that you're trying to get it. And it's almost like you can't go wrong as long as you're patient with your entries. But hoping for support to hold in a downtrend, it's like, what are you shooting for? You know, like what? Like why? Like let it get to the next quarter, and if they beat and we're down at $500, then this sucker's going to be a 16 PE. That's a buy to me because of that. I don't know when it's going to go. Like I actually bought this. It was spring training last year, and I didn't even have the low because it was March somewhere, probably here off the 200-period moving average. It ended up being good, but it was bad for a while because obviously, I knew the tariffs were going to come. Nobody knew that, but it just is what it is. Like you pick your spot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Quick update: SMCI still kind of oscillating between VWAP and the low of the day. So we'll reload at VWAP. We'll take some out at the bottom. Stop me if I've told you this before, but I think we have to continue to watch this. There's USO. It just broke the low. So this long consolidation, it just broke the low. If it's another wick bottom and we retrace back in, then shorts are probably pretty good. But if we continue to trend down and this is going to make some lower lows, then maybe we're going to see the market come back up. But we just now on the 3-minute here on USO broke the bottom. None of these wicks have held though. We broke the top of the range and that wick didn't hold. So maybe breaking the bottom is not going to hold either here.
We're still waiting for our trade to pan out. Now it's 25 cents, but right now let's go back over and have a quick little look. This is pretty cool. I don't know what happened to this BTC symbol there, but that's pretty cool. I like that one. All right, Micron. We could look at this.
Evaporating.
Yeah, it's evaporating. Yeah, like everybody's accounts. EEIQ also, maybe a name to look at, up 165% today. We haven't even looked at that. UGRO has halted back and forth. Now only down 12%. It was down 25% at one point. point. So I definitely think there's a look required there for UGRO, Urban Grow, there with the cricket talk yesterday and down today. I let cricket talk for a while. FCHL, that could be another name. I think we looked at that a little bit earlier as well. Maybe we can again. Microsoft's part of that sort of IGV move, but although now green on the day, despite the NASDAQ being down 1% right now and going lower. Let's go, NASDAQ, man. We are now officially green on our TQQ trade. So there it is, man. We put the day into Greensville, and we can get you guys voting in a minute if you're green or red. There's battle as well with USO. Watching out for that. Yeah, there it goes to the downside. So we finally get it, everybody. Hey, everybody. There it is right there. We get our 23 fill. So that's an oh my God, that's a bang, and that's an Ozan right there. As it goes, man, I really enjoy trading the market, and you can see right there only one thing for me today, that is the TQQs. And I mean, we noted it on here. We didn't get involved with IBIT. IBIT, although right now is approaching that 70,000, that would be something for me to talk about. Yeah, I don't. I was waiting for 39 3/4. That's not in play yet, so we have to sort of sit on that. Yo, what's up, Ozan? You heard your name because of the cow right there. We'll have to find out what's for. I just got a message from the wife there. It said, pick up some of those sausages again from Farm Boy Joe. You know what I responded with?
Yes.
Maybe even steak right there as we hit those Farm Boy. What's that? The whole chickens. Okay. Marissa likes roasting. I do like the whole chicken idea. Sometimes we roast our own chicken, but yeah, not a bad move there. The whole chickens. Whole chickens at Costco, like done, are like $8 or something. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, okay, yeah, you can get them all different flavors. I know what you're talking about over there. So shout out to Farm Boy. They're kind of like, what's that place that Amazon bought? Whole Foods, but not really. They're not as like health-based. They're more unique.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not quite, but it's probably as close as you can get here.
Yeah, other than little individual ones. The Farm Boys are in like, they're in a lot of condos, so they're in like the bottom floors of condos. That's the one, all the ones that I know about anyways. We have a new townhome development of about like 120 towns being built near my house, and there's a big building there, and I'm hoping a Farm Boy moves.
This might be it this time.
There. Oh, USO moving up? Okay, get down, futures.
So it did do that bottoming tail wick, and now it's trying to press the highs. We're not following through yet. This busts through VWAP, and it's game over, man. Just like Bill Paxton said in Aliens 2, which is just Aliens, not Aliens 2, Neil. So SMCI, I think we break through this low. If we finally get going in oil, we'll break through the low. But I'm still reloading if we get to VWAP. SoFi hasn't really changed much. Reloaded at the volume weighted average price, looking for it to get to the lows. It's barely moving. And then Bitcoin, look, we might not get to 70,000, but we can easily break this trend, which is fine by me. Yesterday, Bitcoin was in a very slight upward trend at the open. When it broke the trend and lost VWAP, it was a huge drop. Like, that was the move. It losing the uptrend and breaking VWAP was the big one. And we also have the president speaking right now.
Yeah, what the hell?
He's speaking at a cabinet meeting. I don't know what he said, but we just made another fresh high.
Yeah, so here we go. Iran is begging to make a deal, is what he says. Begging him to make a deal right there. So that sounds like a lot of BS, but I don't know. You know, we're not here to judge what people's opinions are of this news story. I'm just here to trade them. So when President Trump came out there, I did punch out a little bit, just 10% again. We'll put another bid down here. There it is. Yeah, let's go, man. We did not punch out. We also did not reload. Here we go, right back into VWAP right now. The market is moving, Adara. There we go. Nice little move to the downside right now.
He's just saying they're crushing drone stockpiles. He's saying he's not the one who wants to make a deal. It's Iran. That's all.
Okay,
yeah.
So we heard that. Nice move down. Hey, man, this was a 10-cent worth of risk right there, and now we are in the money, 40 cents, and we've been scalping it out. So unfortunately, only 25% left, but really happy. As we said, man, I'm going to get that chart going. I think despite it being a little choppy today, I feel like there's been some good opportunities. But yeah, the scalping right here just doesn't stop, man. We only have 20% left right now on this TQs, and it's just dancing right here. They really want to make a deal, believe it or not, Adara.
They're begging.
President Trump repeated about like 4 or 5 times straight, more or less in the same words, that Iran is begging to make a deal. He's not the one who wants the deal. It's really all Iran, and he said that they're great negotiators. It's not the first time he said this either. So let's talk here about the sector board. There is a lot of weakness. Producer manufacturing quite red here. Tech services, interestingly enough, pretty split. Google and Meta both, of course, hit with that ruling yesterday in the trial with mental health and these media platforms. They're both trading lower. Palantir also lower, and AAPL hit about 10%. Oh, President Trump just saying he's not sure he's willing to make a deal. That just came out. So there's not sure that they're willing to make a deal, not Iran. I just wanted to interrupt the update with that. Rest of tech services pretty green. Electronic tech, much like tech services, pretty split, though I would say a lot weaker than tech services as you get kind of a lot of chip weakness, AMD, NVIDIA, Intel, Micron, all to the downside. Producer manufacturing, as I mentioned, red. Energy minerals, quite strong. Utilities, a lot of strength here, but CEG, which is, of course, an AI kind of tide play with data centers, they're down 5%. Yeah, not too much to say here with sectors. I am really distracted by this oil news as Trump says he doesn't know if he's willing to work with a deal with Iran, and they should have made a deal 4 weeks ago. Back to you.
Well, whatever it is, it's working now because we're actually starting that flush. By the way, obviously, that move down corresponded with finally USO breaking out a little bit. It's above VWAP. That's pretty much what matters now is you held that consolidation for 1 hour at the open. USO consolidated in a range. It finally breaks up, and that means we're headed lower. So the gap fill, we basically gap filled on SMCI, so I have a tight stop trail in because we filled the gap, and then we'll look for the low of the day down 22.6. Bitcoin is about to break trend as well. Got to watch out for SoFi because SoFi could double bottom here, and if it double bottoms, I might jump out at the low of the day. But the trail's on there, and yeah, you got to watch out for USO. You knew it was going to lead the market somewhat, and everything is getting kicked in the junk. Worth mentioning, I'm looking over at like memory chip names. Micron not doing a thing over there. It's like one day one chip name is moving the most, another day it's another. Like AMD is getting absolutely woodshedded after being the strongest name out there. This was the second best chip name. Well, third best chip name because ARM and Marvell were probably more than AMD. But AMD is the one taking it on the chin the most. It felt like it was going to be the memory names today that'd be weak, but it wasn't. It ended up being, AMD, which had positive news yesterday. So weird.
Yeah, SNDK still down 8%, of course. Here goes the TQs, man. I mean, just to not to beat a dead horse or anything, but this is now down to $43, and we talked about what we thought about this name, waiting for that low, and it looks like right now the low is in. So we're pretty happy, obviously, with this trade there for the TQs. I mean, whether or not it goes lower now, we'll try to hold on to the rest, down to 15% now on our friend, the TQQs. So that's a good one there. Okay, we'll wait. That's what's going on there. Looking at Oracle just to see if there's anything else going on. Oracle does break VWAP, so we do get that right into here. We get that alert coming through there, breaking through VWAP just a couple minutes ago. So that alert hits on my scanner, and there goes Oracle. Still up on, well, not still up on the day. Sorry, still up from its opening play there today, but definitely downside now for Oracle. Maybe a bit, I think, 144.50. If that comes in, that's the 200 period moving average. So, I mean, as Trump keeps on talking, we are going to, obviously have to address some of the things that he's been saying. So, disappointed in NATO. There's different things happening. $43 right there for that bottom coming in again there. We'll see if it does wind up filling. We did take another out. I don't have any bids now until 95s. So if that comes in, that'll be good. We're waiting for that kind of a break to show up right now. But other than that, the names that you guys want to talk about, what about Urban Go? That had halted a couple times here off the open. Not even off the open, I guess. The first halt seems to have been like right around here, 10 o'clock there. Yeah, thank you very much. Lunch 911. We had that yesterday. Yeah, I think, was it you that caught Tesla yesterday as well? Good move there. Wow, there goes the TQs, man. In what was, Sharif, this was only a 10-cent risk right there. Talked about it three times right there on that same risk. And right now, man, it's Print City right now for that trade. As you can see, it's starting to go to the downside. We actually missed our 95. We were bidding 95s there. Hopefully we'll be able to get that pretty soon. All right, there it is. There's our 95. Oh my, 6-1 right there. This is the benefit again of trading some more active names, but it doesn't really matter what you're looking at right now. Hopefully you're short. The market is bleeding to the downside as Trump continues to talk. Adara, what you got on this?
I was going to say here, it's interesting, the cabinet meeting, usually President Trump speaks for quite a while, then he passes it over to other members. Once he's done his opening commentary, I will keep you posted. But he's continuing to say that the reason for this conflict in Iran was because Iran would have otherwise used their nuclear weapons on Israel and other U.S. allies within the region, including the U.S. itself. So this is still happening here. He's also basically saying that they do not need the help of other nations to settle this situation. Again, once he finishes his comments and passes it on to other cabinet members, I will keep you posted. He just reiterated that 4 to 6 week time frame for the conflict to take place. A little bit of a spike back in the market, ever so slightly.
Thank you there, Adara. For me, it's ring register time. SMCI filled the entirety of the gap. Yesterday's breakout price, it came all the way back into it from VWAP. If it gets to VWAP, understand that this would be, it has to break an all-day trend to get to VWAP. Like if you do that, getting to VWAP might not be the re-entry here. A pop and then a retest of the trend line or a consolidation and a break lower would be the way to jump back into the short. I was concerned with SoFi also double bottoming here. SoFi double bottomed. This has at least a line in the sand. You know what? I shouldn't have that offer still in there. I don't need that anymore. So we had VWAP for the breakdown, but it's still somewhat range bound, about 1%, down 2%, and it's got like a 1% range in here. So if we bounce to the high, it's almost like let it get to that high of 16.5 and try the 40s instead of the 30s. Or if we do continue this downtrend, just kind of work with this with tight stops. So, you know, thankfully, finally, we actually got that move in USO, which easily brought everything back down. And then the new thing, because the other name we like is Bitcoin, there's that trend break. And this is our red name today, and it's the consolidation under VWAP that I think is next. If it does the same thing yesterday, it was heading up, held under VWAP, broke the trend, and then it was a short all the way into that 40. That was the look. I'm thinking same thing here on Bitcoin, as it's finally confirmed it's showing some signs of weakness. Adara?
I will start with some more headlines here from President Trump. He said that he's not even sure there are mines in the Strait of Hormuz, but then immediately afterwards said only people with, quote, evil intentions would be dropping mines, and that they apparently have these mine droppers. So kind of conflicted here on whether or not there are mines. The main point he said, though, about Hormuz, though, was that, quote, we'll see if we can make the right deal and open the Strait of Hormuz. Let's talk about this U.S. dollar right now trying to get lifted, but interesting still, these lower highs are actually in a pretty direct downtrend, starting from that high we made on Friday, March 13th, just roughly 2 weeks ago from tomorrow. So let's see if we're able to break now a higher high. That would have to be that 100.1 level that we made this Monday. I also want to mention here, in terms of the U.S. dollar, more economic data going to be on focus tomorrow at 10 a.m. Michigan consumer sentiment, 54 is the forecast. 55.5 was the prior. So it looks like the final Michigan consumer sentiment print for March, we are expecting to be a little bit lower than the one before. Now, for inflation expectations, 5-year inflation estimate, forecast 3.5%, prior 3.2%, 1 year 3.9%, forecast prior 3.4%. So the implication here is consumers are a little bit less optimistic about the market, and they do see inflation as sharply higher than they did prior. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara, for that one. Yeah, with all this Trump talk here, we've already talked about it. You know, Iran must make a deal. You know, there's no more mine droppers, all these kind of things there. You saw what oil did on this move just recently. Nice move higher, up 3.7%. You know, but Trump just talking about, like, you know, there has to be a deal somewhere, and I'm assuming that they'll get to one at some point. But there goes U.S. oil. Sorry, there goes. Oh, we can talk about USO. We haven't looked at USO in a minute. We always are trading. Sorry, USO is what we look at. OIH, the oil holders, is what I meant. Yeah, this is why. I didn't even realize the price. $411 right there as we keep on going higher. The other ETF that you may want to look at in the space, XLE. There's Gush, and you talked about Boyle for the nat gas and
Brent. You can look
at
BNO.
BNO, things like that. So XLE. Look at the way this looks, man. I've been. Here, you know what? I'm going to look at a different chart there because we did have the distribution there for XLE. Okay, so right into here, that wasn't a huge drop down, as that's why I'm showing you this. So there goes the XLE, man. We actually ignited our position further at this 50 break right there. As I remember, we talked about, I mean, for me anyways, was just sitting there. I was like, we saw oil. We saw gold, we saw silver make absolutely rocket moves once they broke like multi-year highs. And there it is right there, $50 all the way to 60. So it's a nice little, it's not huge, right? It's only 20% move, but not bad there for XLE as you get not too much risk associated with that as it's a whole bunch of them in one right there. But yeah, UGRO is one that's been halting up there. There it is. I just saw someone say it's halted again. Let me have a quick look at US. So these are some of those levels that we left you guys with yesterday, right? UGRO at close yesterday was just a halt fest into the close all day. And then that's after hours. But these were the levels that we sort of could not beat with after 3 p.m. So watch out now. Yesterday when we halted, we actually wicked up into $40. So right now, the fact that this is halted right there at the same levels it was yesterday, there's your $40 high. So if you did have something going on UGRO, watch out for 40. Right now, the tap is held where it is. So far, so good. Darren, maybe it's bad news about the market because here we go to the downside. Okay, 70 cents now in the money on this TQ short. What's up, Adara?
It's actually quite amusing here, Sean, because President Trump, right as he said before this happened, the S&P 500 was at 7,000 and the Dow was at 50,000. Both the S&P 500 and the Dow like immediately dropped on that. So kind of interesting notes, and it was like right as he said it too. Other than that, he said with Iran, we will keep doing what we're doing, quote, blowing them away until they make a deal. So lots of strong words coming from President Trump. Again, I'm not going to give like every headline here because a lot of it's kind of the same thing. I'm going to stick to giving you guys the headlines that are actually moving and related to the market because we're, of course, going to be focusing on stocks. But just be aware, I'm going to be sitting here. I'm not moving. I'm going to be listening to this whole thing. So anything that does happen that moves the market, like President Trump's comments on the Dow and the SPY, I'll let you know.
This guy is so trash.
I mean, I just took another bid. Yeah, this could be $1 soon, man. We're waiting at 72s right now. Remember what our stop was 10 cents on this trade. So it definitely allows you to level up, use more shares. And we talked about what we were doing. So far, so good on that one. But we always got to figure out what's for lunch. We'll do this real quick, man, because we do have obviously some things moving around. Greek flag. So always we get some good reaction to Greek food around here. Never moussaka though.
Remember last time it was Greek flag and it wasn't Greek salad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't Greek salad, but it was. I'm not even sure what it was.
It doesn't make any sense.
Last time. Okay. Well, I was gonna guess this today. It's pretty typical of what happens when we get the Greek flag around here. And it just says grilled Greek chicken. So some sort of a flavor of Greek profile happening right there. Grilled veggies, we like that. Roasted potatoes. And Neil, you can sleep easy. It is Greek salad there tonight. Get it, Neil, for sure. But there it is right there. It is $1 club now as the member has entered the building right there on the futures with the TQQs, man. Look, this trade, guys, if you're trading on the NASDAQ, this trade right now is 24,200. This is 200 handles right there. So the 200 handle club, Adara, what you got for us over there?
Yeah, if you noticed, there was like a brief spike if you were looking at tape there in some names of the market a couple of minutes ago. That's because President Trump said that he thought the market would go down more than it did. So I guess President Trump is optimistic, relatively speaking, about how the markets reacted to the conflict. As I mentioned earlier, you really started to get this sharp drop in some of these names, particularly the Dow, after President Trump said, well, before the conflict, the Dow was at $50,000.
Yeah, and we just spiked off the lows there. So the only new position for me was getting in under VWAP on IBIT. I'm not seeing a reason to not reload it at VWAP, except for what we're going to continue to watch here is what kind of started all of this. It was this reversal off the lows, like that bottoming tail wick, and then the biggest volume spike in USO, obviously thank you to the president. And that's where you got the shorts continuing. That's where we're getting a little bit of a bounce here because we're running into a resistance level. So if we keep doing this thing where we topping tail candle and bottoming tail candle reverse over and over again, the futures just seem to want to be following as well. By the way, SMCI, that's bouncing off 22, it got 6.5% down. Could be a mean reverse long, but you know what? I don't want any part of it. I will not be taking a trend break long on SMCI, even if it's good. I just feel like that stock's a bit of a turd. Let's go back to Adara.
Yeah, as we mentioned here, President Trump said that he thought stocks would go down more, but he also said he thought that oil would go up more, and he said, well, it could still happen. Trump was right about everything. So President Trump teasing that oil prices could still continue to go higher. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, world-renowned economist, president of Venezuela, president of the United States.
Yes.
Soon to be he probably already is author, emperor potentially.
Well, wait till Cuba.
New head of Iran over there as well. Master of the Strait of Hormuz. This guy, I mean, I don't know, man, but we definitely like the confidence that President Trump has when he speaks.
As long as you're master of your own domain. Then
yeah, I mean. That's true, man, as long as he is doing that. Okay, so, yeah, just watching out. There's only 2 minutes left until we'll go to the midday show. So, yeah, what's up, Adara, again?
Trump finishes remarks. It's now going to be J.D. Vance. At the end, they'll take questions. I'll keep you guys posted on the questions. Now, it is worth noting sometimes Trump will kind of offer a couple comments in between when his secretaries talk, but very rarely. These cabinet meetings, again, they'll go on for usually a couple hours. He said he'd take questions this time, which he notably did not take questions last time. So that's significant.
Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I found something that might be an interesting long. We'll see if the market can hold up a little bit here. And it's a weird name because it wouldn't usually say this. Rivian looks interesting right now. Rivian bounced again, and I don't know how many times it has to do this, but it comes right back into that 200-period moving average, bounces in front, and is back above VWAP, pulls back into VWAP once, pulls back into VWAP twice. If we can hold above the volume-weighted average price, this looks like good for a potential like reversal trend break and then back into the high. Just like a scalp idea to get back into the high of the day. Like, show me some stocks that are above the volume-weighted average price. I think there's one here in RIVN that could be a little bit of a curl. What's Tesla doing? Probably not good. Tesla, that's a reversal candle potential. Oh, it's that wick. Sorry about the wick on Tesla. I got to zoom in. There you go. Bottoming tail reversal candle on Tesla also doesn't hurt. Yeah, so I kind of like the look of this Rivian. It's breaking that trend now. If it can close this 3-minute above that 1550 mark, then this back into the high of the day off VWAP is going to make a little bit of sense. What's that you're looking at?
This is called Ocean Pal. So here's a name that's starting to rip up a little bit, SVRN right there. I mean, it might be one of those names, again, we just talked about the mines being dropped or whatever. We did have some talk about some of those ocean mine names a couple weeks ago when this first started to be a thing. So I don't know, SVRN, if those of you that are interested in a small cap name underneath $1 right here, but just 28 cents, yeah, SVRN right there. Ocean Pal right now. Look, with J.D. Vance talking right now, I don't, J.D. Vance finished already?
He was really, really brief. He just said the U.S. has options in Iran, and then he did it over to Marco Rubio. One thing he did say, though, is that the U.S. has every tool at its disposal to ensure Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. So, yeah, J.D. Vance basically repeated a lot of the points President Trump made.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we will continue to look at that. Just before I go, because we got to go over to the midday show here. So my stop was 43.70. We're going to change that now. I mean, I'm not going to let this run all the way back up. We only have 10% left now, so it's not a big deal. I'm just going to wait for VWAP, man, 43.20. So we can just put that bid in right now, 43.21. If it hits, we're out of that one. And I will see you guys at 2 p.m.
Yes, sir. We'll be back. And we gave you guys an extra yesterday. We gave you guys an extra 6 or 7 seconds. Maybe it was 8. I'm not sure. It's 40 right now. So
it pissed someone off.
We're feeling very generous, Joe. So we'll be back at 2 o'clock, like Sean said. Enjoy the professor himself and Joey Options.
All right, go get it, boys.
Peace. Greek salad.
Greek salad. What?